WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And a very happy Easter to each and every one of you boys and girls. I hope Peter Cottontail was good to you. I know he wasn't too bad to me. And by that, I mean, I think I've spent about, 6 of the past 12 hours eating children's candy. Unapologetically, Producer Dan.
You like children's candy?
I do.
What's your favorite?
Well, candy's candy.
Right, so I don't know why you put children's in front of it.
Because it belongs to children. It's possessive.
Hey, you want to?
I have a grammar jar in here.
Yeah.
When you have a noun in front of something and there's an apostrophe S, it's possessive.
No, I get that. But I don't know why you added children in front of candy.
Because it's my children's candy. I'm stealing from children.
Okay. Well, you wanna.
That's what Easter's all about.
Hey, do you want a fact right off the bat?
Not really, but go ahead.
That 70% of Easter candy purchased is chocolate.
Is it really?
Yes, 70%.
Yeah, I believe that. I'm actually surprised it's not higher.
I believe it, yeah.
Because the best are those big golden bunnies. You know which one of the ones I'm talking about?
I think so.
They're wrapped in golden foil.
Yeah, but I got to disagree. I think the hollow bunnies are the best ones. I love a good hollow bunny.
But there's nothing in the middle of it.
I know, but it's better.
So you like air at the center of your candy.
I like candy that I can actually
cream
chew.
Well, what about the cream makes it so you can't chew it?
I like ripping it off. I just like ripping it off, and you can like take bites and stuff like that. But you can't do that with a solid bunny.
I see.
Yeah, I think it just. Okay. I think hollow bunnies taste better too.
Well, different strokes, different folks, right?
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it.
That is what I want to call it here on the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. And we appreciate all of you joining us here on Easter Sunday evening. We hope you had a lovely day full of family, friends. Maybe got to witness or orchestrate an Easter egg hunt or two, or three if you're my child. He's a little bit spoiled.
You've done 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he's got cousins. So you go to like one house, you do an Easter egg hunt, then you go to grandparents' house and you have another Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, we had an Easter egg hunt.
Did you?
Yeah, we did. Mind you, I'm the youngest person in my family.
Right, you're 22.
Yeah. We all had an Easter egg hunt.
That's not weird.
All of us had to find 4 eggs. I had a total of $3.
Oh.
Each of them.
Winter chicken dinner.
Yeah, my aunt put like $4, like $4 bills in them, like in total eggs. Okay. The rest of them just had spare change.
Change?
Yeah. Like
your aunt did this?
Like it'd be like 20 cents in like one of the eggs. I came out of there.
She's not the lady at Halloween where you knock on her door and she jumps like peanuts and pennies into your bag.
I have no idea. But
I mean, if she's related to you, is this your mother's sister?
Yes.
She's got to be a lovely person because we know your mother's a lovely person.
But I came out of there with $3.
Okay.
So I'm winning.
All right. Well, note to self, Greg Stocker, Chief Honcho over here at 1210 WPHT, our friend, if you're listening, you do not have to give Dan a paycheck for tonight because his aunt already gave him $3.
Hey, now.
So he's set.
Oh, no, I'm already clocked in. Don't you worry, buddy.
We're paying you in chocolate. 70% chocolate.
Okay.
What did you do today before the show? I hope someone fed you. I felt a little guilty having a show only because I knew that would mean you had to come in.
No, I ate. I had leftovers from yesterday that I took here.
Oh, that's right. You said you had Easter dinner yesterday. And what'd you have? What's the traditional meal in your house?
Ham, coleslaw.
Coleslaw.
Big coleslaw guy. Aunt makes the best. Some mashed potatoes.
How does the coleslaw mix with the ham?
I have no idea. I don't really care. It's good.
I'll tell you what. I could see that being a heck of a sandwich. The next day, put that on some bread.
Here's really something. They also had lasagna.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, they had lasagna.
Coleslaw and lasagna definitely do not mix.
Yeah, they had lasagna.
You don't mix mayonnaise and red sauce.
Oh, well, I didn't have the lasagna.
Unless is it vinegar-based coleslaw?
I have no idea. It's good.
You would know if it was mayonnaise or vinegar.
I think it's mayonnaise.
Yeah,
it's good.
That's a little nasty.
Some green beans with some bacon.
Okay, that's good.
They had sweet potato casserole with the marshmallows.
Gotta have marshmallows.
I didn't have any of it, and I think that's it.
All right. Well,
and pork. They had pork.
What kind of pork?
I have no idea. Just pork.
So some kind of pork product in addition to bacon and ham. I can look past the weirdness, the obscene weirdness of having red sauce and mayonnaise on the same table.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad did something fun this year. By the way, this is a cooking show tonight on the Matt Rooney Show. We're not going to talk about politics for 3 hours. We're going to talk about what we had for Easter dinner.
I also, hey, just real quick, I have a tease.
You've always been a little bit of a tease.
Just came to mind. I have a tease. I've been doing a poll the past week about if I look better clean shaven or shaven. So I'll get.
I was gonna get to that next.
I'll get to those results later.
But something way more important. My dad, he made these shaved kind of carrot fries.
Mm-hmm.
Covered them in a sharp Parmesan cheese.
Yeah.
And baked them in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Gotta try it. It's so easy. The key is I think you have to get the carrot shaved very finely, very thinly. Because if not, and it's a little thick, then it's not going to bake right, and it's not going to get that crispiness. But, all right, now that everyone's starving, we're glad you're here. Because that means if you're with us, you're done with your egg hunts and you're not watching the 10 Commandments.
They also might be they might be eating dinner while listening to the show. You never know.
That would be an entirely appropriate thing to do.
Yeah,
I imagine someone in the Delaware Valley or beyond is doing that right now. You're at an Easter dinner, and your crazy Aunt Susan or your far left Uncle Dave, or maybe your goofy cousin is home from college. Her name is probably something stupid like Adderall, and probably is, right?
Phoenix.
One
of those weird baby names that we discussed.
Yeah, Chloe with like a K and like 3 L's, right? They love doubling up or tripling up on the consonants. And she's sitting there talking about how evil the rich are and how Republicans want to, control women's bodies and this, that, and the other. So a perfect way to get them locked down during Easter dinner is to say, you know what, rather than music this year or just the din of conversation, let's enjoy the melodious tones of Matt Rooney and, of course, producer Dan.
And his trusty sidekick.
And by the way, if you're sitting at your Easter dinner and you're enjoying this and you're laughing, you're crying, you're feeling affirmed, and you say to yourself, "Oh, I wonder if these guys are half as handsome as they sound." Well, there's a new way to verify this, producer Dan.
Yes, there is.
Tell them how.
Yeah, so
it's free, don't cost nothing.
Yeah, so 1210 WPHT started a YouTube page, so you can go check out the Matt Rooney Show on youtube.com/@1210 WPHT. We made it about 2 weeks ago, and we're already pretty much up there with subscribers. Let me see how many subscribers we got. We have 1120. So let's try and make a push. Hopefully we can get 1130 by the end of tonight.
Oh, that's good. We were below with 1,000 last week when we were
Yes.
Yeah.
Last week we were pretty much at like 900. So we can get 1130. That's 10 more. That'd be great. So
I also love how here at the station at 1210 WPHT, folks, and this is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, but we're all acting like YouTube's this new thing we found.
It's not.
Like, hey guys, there's this new thing called the YouTubes that we found on the interwebs. Go over and sign up.
No, it's just that sooner or later we'll have permanent better cameras in these studios, and we'll be streaming pretty much full time. I mean, we're streaming now, but we'll be streaming full time. So if you check over to the youtube.com/@1210 WPHT, you can see last week's show. You can see Dom, you can see Nick, you can see Rich, you can see pretty much everything from the station is up there.
Yeah, it's a great way to be able to get our content at any given time. So if you're not into Facebook, which I'm cooling on Facebook since they keep either suspending me or giving me warnings they're going to kick me off. YouTube maybe next. My money's on Zioli. I think he's the one that gets the station suspended. I talked about that last week. But we're on YouTube for now. You can, of course, also head over to the Odyssey app. There's so many ways to aggravate your relatives on the holidays.
Yes.
At any time of day or night, thanks to the miracles of modern technology.
Yeah, and if you don't want to go to YouTube to watch the stream, head over to Facebook to watch the stream as well. And if you don't want to see us, well, head over to the Odyssey app so you don't have to see us.
Or you got that original technology, the radio.
Yeah, you do have a radio.
Yes, you got that thing if you listen to that.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your promo for 1210 WPHD's YouTube page, folks.
Yep.
But we're gonna talk more about social media tonight, unsurprisingly, here on the Matt Rooney Show. We are going to be joined a little later in this program by someone from ALEC. You may be familiar with the American Legislative Exchange Council. We've had their experts on our program before. You've seen them on Fox News. You've seen them all over the internet. We're going to be joined by Jake Morabito. He's from ALEC's Communications and Technology Task Force to break down what exactly is happening with TikTok. You've read the articles. You've listened to the Matt Rooney Show. You know that there is a growing movement, and it's not strictly a Republican movement, to curtail TikTok in this country, not just at the federal level. I know how you feel about it.
BS.
And, we're talking about ticking off relatives on Easter. When I invited Jake on the show this evening, and I'm glad he accepted and decided to join us, I knew this would tick you off because you love your TikTok. You don't care how much of your data China has.
Well, I just think it's a stupid thing to ban. I just think it's a stupid thing in general. Like, why are we spending so much time,
Because national security is so stupid.
No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I know you young whippersnappers.
No. It's not national security.
Think that you're going to live forever and you're immortal and America's just always going to be the way that it is now.
Like the balloon was a different kind of security they're doing. They're trying to fly over military bases and they're trying to get military base information. I understand that. But TikTok, you're going to get some 16-year-olds data that they like to watch memes and they like makeup tutorials. Big whoop.
Well, but here's the thing. Eventually,
no
what if that 16-year-old is the child of someone that works for a federal agency? Or what if that 16-year-old grows up and is in some position of power, if not in the public sector, for an American corporation, which has sensitive data that we don't want our enemies to have? There's so many reasons why. I mean, we know that this is the end of the road for you. You're not going anywhere beyond the Matt Rooney Show. You'll probably die in that chair. But some of these young people are going to make something of themselves, producer Dan.
Well, if you think that's bad, just in White House to employ an influencer army ahead of the 2024 election.
Oh, check that out. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
We've seen this move. We've seen them use it to sell the Affordable Care Act back during the Obama administration. We've seen Joe Biden use influencers to push aspects of his agenda.
Yeah.
So now they're already ramping up. They're calling in the bloggers and the twit talkers and the YouTubers.
They are going to, in March of 2021, they hosted a group of close to 30 TikTok stars and gave them a brief on Ukraine. So yeah.
Yeah. All our best and brightest. All our best and brightest people.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much. Can't believe they're going to have influencers influencing the election.
Well, it tells you something about where our culture is in 2023, right? So it was once a unique thing to be famous for being famous. That was a novel thing in America. Now, most of our celebrities are famous for being famous. In other words, they don't have a unique or distinct skill that they plied in their respective industries.
The Kardashians.
Right. So the Kardashians, right. So, I mean, other than producing quality sex tapes.
How do you know it's quality?
That was called sarcasm. See, when you're just on the radio, sometimes the sarcasm's hard to pick up on.
Yeah, that didn't sound
That's the beauty of having a YouTube channel.
That didn't sound like sarcasm at all.
It was sarcasm.
Do you have first-hand knowledge?
What are you talking about? I'm a man of unimpeachable virtue.
Okay.
What is that judgmental look?
I'll leave it there. I mean, you could have said,
You're producer Dan, not Father Dan.
No, I'm just saying. Never mind. This is a topic for another time.
This is a topic for another time?
Yeah.
Is this too much for you on Easter Sunday?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
I'm just wondering how you know it's quality. And which one? One or two?
See, I didn't even know there were two.
Yeah, there's two.
All right, well,
I would know because I've seen the Kardashians.
You've now been hoisted on your own petard there.
Do my research. No, there's two.
Yeah, your research. All that research we pay you to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to say. Like, you want me to out myself on air? Like, what do you what do you want me to do?
Again, I mean, we keep it a little salty here on the Matt Rooney Show because we are a little salty, but it is Easter, so we probably should have some standards. But yes, you are correct. The Kardashians are what I'm talking about. Now, everyone that's famous is famous simply because they're adept at using social media. And they're the original example. But at a time when we have so many consequential things going on in this nation, that's who the White House calls upon to ask the American voter to support them in the advancement of their agenda. And what does it say about us as a culture that we are persuaded by people who have made a living posting stupid videos on TikTok?
Well, this is where
I'm calling it TikTok, by the way, instead of TikTok.
Well, you can't. I trademarked
TikTok. Yes, Dan, you've trademarked that.
Well,
of course, our segment we round out the Matt Rooney Show with every week.
So that's actually where Dylan Mulvaney got like his name out there. He was one of the influencers that the White House invited.
Yeah. Dylan Mulvaney, we talked about this last week, and I know you've heard about it. Someone who I didn't know who they were about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But now Dylan Mulvaney is a spokesperson for Nike. He's a spokesperson for Bud Light, right?
Yep.
Which I maybe had my last Bud Light in 2002, maybe 2004. I can't do math. I was in college, thereabouts.
I told you off air, Bud Light's only good when you're drunk. Not that I know what that's like because I'm a good little Christian boy, but
you're really laying it on thick. Did you go to church today?
No, I haven't gone to church in a while.
You haven't gone to church in a while?
No, I haven't.
Well, there would probably be a lightning strike if you walked into church. That's probably considerate for everyone else.
Oh, here's Ulta, the beauty store, also hosted Mulvaney.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, someone who's famous for being famous, but these are the people that are now not just guiding our culture, but we know that politics is downstream from culture. They're also influencing the very direction of our nation, both domestically and internationally, heading into one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. So, holidays are always an opportunity to reflect on a number of different things. Maybe this is one of the things we should be thinking about this year. We should be doing a deep dive into whether or not it's a good thing for this country that people that are best known for posting videos of themselves bathing in cereal and dancing around like morons, or as men pretending to be women, whether or not these are the people that should be telling us how we should think about, I don't know, the war in Ukraine.
Do you remember when
tax rates or healthcare, or name your topic?
Do you remember when like back in the day, guys would dress up as girls for like Halloween and people thought it was funny? You remember those days?
Yeah.
Yeah, now if you do it, now you're just weird. Like now it's not acceptable. Well, it's acceptable but you can't just do it for a day. Like if you do it for a day, then you get canceled because you're making fun because you're transphobic at that point.
So is that the 2023 equivalent of blackface? Like if I came in here on Halloween, let's say we dress up for Halloween this year.
Yeah.
And I show up, as dressed as Mary Rooney.
Mm-hmm.
I got a wig and I got,
some people might take that out of context and think you're being transphobic. Just like there's a digital blackface now. Did you know that?
No, what's digital blackface?
If you use any kind of GIF or emoji with a black person, you're committing digital blackface.
So if I were to comment on something that you wrote on the Facebook with a emoji of a black face,
like an African American, yeah, you can't do that. That's the digital blackface or GIF.
All of these rules have to be written somewhere.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to tell
you.
Hey,
by the way, Grieg is back on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can also interact with us on YouTube by leaving comments. That's a great feature. See, that was sarcasm again, Dan. Did you pick up on that?
Well, yeah, no, I think it's a great feature.
And he says the Affordable Care Act, it wasn't affordable, it wasn't care, but it was an act. That's actually that's actually very well put. Last week he was just making fun of you for being ugly. This week Greg is making amazing points about one of the great policy scams of all time.
The Affordable Care Act also gave people a free phone, so
that's true. Hey, by the way, if you have a phone and you want to call into the Matt Rooney Show, be our guest. 855-839-1210 is the number. We will be on tonight for 3 full hours as we round out the Easter holiday from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. We've got guests, we've got clips, we've got analysis. We will laugh, we will cry, because if you don't laugh, you're going to do nothing but cry, because that's the state of things at the moment in this country. But we're going to do the best we can to make sense of it. Take what happened in the past week, prepare you for the week ahead here on the Matt Rooney Show. Again, 855-839-1210. Quick break, and then we're going to kick the show off. All cylinders firing in just a moment.
Hey, Mount Laurel. We know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
I'm somewhat dismayed to come in today to the studio, despite the fact that I'm in this buoyant Easter springy mood, to find that producer Dan has not shaved. Still has that dead animal on his face that he had there last week.
Yeah.
Despite my best efforts to bully you into shaving.
You did it.
We solicited input last week. I posted a photograph of you, handsome young man, grading on a curve, of course, and then one of you as you look now, which I think can best be described as drunk leprechaun. And it was overwhelming, the input that we got. The feedback was all in one direction. Everyone wanted you to shave.
Yeah.
Listeners, supporters, haters, all going in one direction.
Yeah, you know what I didn't do? Shave it.
And you didn't shave it. So I would like you to explain yourself at the top of the show here.
Well, I also did my own, my own research.
And where is this research?
It's just people that I know. Yeah.
Okay. So this sounds a lot like a Fauci press conference where they're announcing why they're going to shut something down. Oh, the latest science says that you should wear 6 masks in your car. Why? Well, our research.
Can
we see it? No.
I asked some of my close lady friends.
Close lady friends.
Yeah. I didn't ask any guy. I didn't. Are you trying to?
Yeah, I'm trying to hit this thing.
Go ahead.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. It's a little too far away. I got to move this closer.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, move it.
Hold on.
Yeah. And you know what do you know what they all said?
You are so lucky, men.
You know what they all said?
What they really say.
I actually am aroused by him.
It's impossible.
I'm just kidding. No, they all were like, I'm pretty indifferent. I think you look good either way. And I was like, that's not the answer that I wanted.
That's not a real answer.
But a lot of them said clean shaven.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, because did any one person say, hey, you know what? No, I love that facial hair.
Yeah, actually.
Who said that?
Who said it?
Yeah, I want name, I want social security number, I want to see an ID. Because I don't believe they exist.
Well, okay. There's a reason why I kept it the way.
Does your mom like it?
Yeah, she said it's fine as long as you just keep it clean. So it's not like,
Which I did deliberately pick a photograph for Twitter where it's out of control.
That's the photo that I sent you.
Yeah, that mustache looks like it would accidentally jab you in the eye if they passed
Well, if you look at it now, it's not bad. I don't know. I'm indifferent about it. The reason why I kept it, I was always clean shaven. I was like, I don't want to grow one because I never could. And I thought I didn't look good with a mustache. Yeah. And then the reason why I kept it was because Holly was like, keep it. You look good with it. This
is ex-girlfirlriend Holly.
Yeah, this is when we were together. Also, my roommate currently. Yeah. But she was like, no, keep it. I think you look good with it. So I said, okay. And I grew it out and I got used to it. So now I just think I look better with it. It's the same thing why I don't not wear my glasses. Where I don't wear my glasses because I think I look better with my glasses than I do without.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the glasses.
Well, one, I can't see without them. So that's one.
Well, I wasn't telling you to take them off.
Oh, well, good.
I mean, I'm a member of the Four-Eyed Fraternity over here.
Yeah. So I just think I'm just so used to it that if I shave it, I'm going to hate it and I'm going to regret it.
No, impossible.
I mean, it'll grow back. But
no, I want you. Look, we're not going to spend 3 hours talking about this, but I want you to, as we head into the warmer weather months, right? Got up to about 60 today. You can see me wearing. Are you okay with the shirt, by the way? You're usually very.
Yeah, no, I think it looks good.
You're very critical of my fashion choices usually.
Nope. Let's get something straight.
It's because the lovely Jacqueline picked this one.
Let's get something straight. I'm only critical of that lime green shirt. That is heinous. Absolutely heinous.
A crime against humanity.
Exactly. Today's outfit's actually pretty good.
Yeah, no, this one, because I actually came from Easter dinner.
As you can tell, I did not, and I'm in shorts.
I would have brought you something.
I told you I already ate.
I know
I'm going to tell you this, old man.
It's a polite thing that people do when they're going to someone that was not at a dinner and they bring them a plate. Were you raised in a barn?
Yeah, actually.
This is the civilized thing to do.
How many times I got to tell you this, old man?
Yeah, right. You almost called me a boomer there.
I'm done with you.
I really am. 855-839-1210.
How dare they?
Is Kamala back from her African tour, by the way?
I think so.
Is she back here?
I think so.
Yeah, the clips were so painfully stupid. We didn't even play any of them last week because it was so obvious, and other people were retweeting the low-hanging fruit. I mean, you know that she's an idiot.
Yeah,
so you don't need me to tell you.
Yeah,
that.
she is now. She's back, and she is furious about the Tennessee lawmakers that were kicked out. She has a fury speech that,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do we have that?
I can pull it.
Yeah, let's see if we have some of her speech. And I'll just, cue this up for anybody that maybe isn't familiar with the story. I don't know how you missed it. But let me go back even a little bit further. We had this thing happen back on January 6, 2021, where a handful, relatively speaking, of dopes decided to riot on Capitol Hill, right? A couple of them were dressed like Vikings. Some of them had MAGA hats on. It happened. You don't need me to fill in the blanks because we continue to hear about this story on an almost daily basis. And despite the fact that this country has endured unimaginable tragedies over the course of its history, including a full-scale civil war, to hear the left tell it the single worst day in American history and the greatest jeopardy the Republic has ever found itself in was January 6, 2021. Flash forward to the events in Tennessee, where you have legislators in that body, Democrats, who were accused of taking part of a protest that essentially took over their Capitol building out there. And two of the three legislators, I think I'm right on this, Dan, two of the three legislators were subsequently expelled from the legislature.
There was three, two of them were black, one of them was white. That's a big detail. Is that because of
to the critics of the expulsions?
Correct, because two of them, there was three of them were all acting out. The two that got expelled were African American. The one that was saved was white. So now they're saying that it's a race issue because the two blacks or the two black members were expelled. Which I have Kamala's speech if you wanted to.
Yeah, let's hear from our vice president.
And your
I was waiting for a Howard Dean style squeal at the end there. And then we're going to go to the White House. Yeah! It was. I really thought it was coming. But, again, you can always unpack the Democrats' idiocy if you have a memory, an attention span that lasts longer than 5 minutes. Because imagine if someone had given that exact same speech, a Republican, after January 6th. They would have been hauled in front of Congress for hearings. They might have been criminally charged. They would have had everyone from AOC to Liz Cheney calling them a threat to the Republic, calling for their removal from that chamber. Meanwhile, in Tennessee, we had about 400 people rush the Tennessee state capitol. Okay? And there is video of these disrespectful Dems facing expulsion. And the members of that legislature decided that two of the three of them, I think it was a supermajority that had to vote for expulsion, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
A supermajority decided that, hey, their actions in fomenting these 400 people rushing the Capitol justified removing them from that chamber. And now they're former members of the legislature. So we've once again arrived at one of these contradictions in leftist thinking, where if you aren't experienced in dealing with the left and analyzing the left and trying to make sense of the left, it makes you want to wrap your head with duct tape so it doesn't explode. But don't overthink this, ladies and gentlemen.
Here you go.
It's pretty simple. Howard Dean. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, what are we over, like That was 2004?
4. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, let that be a lesson, kiddos.
What is he even doing
If you
now?
do something monumentally stupid, it can still haunt you 20 years later. Howard Dean? I don't know, you don't really hear much from him now. Probably standing somewhere in the woods in Vermont screaming at beehives or something, I would imagine.
Physician, author, consultant, and retired politician.
Yeah, whenever you throw consultant in there, that means you don't have a real job at that stage of his career. He's a consultant. That means he's got some LLC and he's using it as an expense account. Bet you anything. In any event, Tennessee, the situation there very easy to analyze. Kamala Harris is good at yelling and screaming. It doesn't usually make a whole heck of a lot of sense, but she's good at projecting the anger of her base and whipping up anger and preying upon people's emotions to get them to feel as if they are somehow victims or aggrieved or whatever. This is much more simple. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Democrats made all sorts of accusations after January 6th about what Republican representatives may or may not have done to aid the eventual rioters. Here we have hard evidence for at least two of these legislators in Tennessee that rose to the level that a supermajority of that legislature decided to kick them out. How is it any different? It's only different if you are an agenda-driven person. In other words, you only care about the end result. You don't care about what's morally correct. You don't have any overarching standard that you attempt to apply equally to every side, even though you may have a bias because you're a Republican, you want Republicans to win, or you're a Democrat, you want Democrats to win. The left are morally relativistic. Other than to remember this Easter. That's why we always hear them talking about this whole "it's your truth" thing. Live your truth. As if there isn't one truth. There can't be more than one thing that's true when we're talking about objective facts, particularly in the arena of deciding of whether somebody committed a crime or did something that violated the rules or the ethical standards of a legislative body. It's either true or it's false. How many of you were in school? And I know we're on spring break right now, so forgive me for bringing up classes. But
I'm not.
let's ask you. Have you ever had a true and false test where there's true, false, and then your truth as a third option?
No.
Doesn't exist.
No.
But it's this moral relativism that has creeped in and taken over the left's thinking, and the media lets them get away with it. But if you apply just truth and fact to these situations, then you would come to the conclusion that, hey, listen, if we find out that a representative was involved with helping the riot on January 6th, charge them accordingly. Whatever rules or laws they violated, it is what it is. Those same rules and canons and standards should apply to those legislators in Tennessee. And the only reason you would not apply those standards is if you're not a good faith broker, if you're only interested in leftism succeeding. 855-839-1210 is the number on the Matt Rooney Show. Let's take a quick break, play some ads, make some money, and then we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Live and local all day. Kale and Company mornings 6 to 10. Rich Cioli afternoons 3 to 7 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
Well, this is appropriate, Daniel, since we were talking about your internet habits earlier. Daily Mail on the line.
There you go.
Stormy Daniels sees spike in Pornhub searches on the day of Donald Trump's arraignment. Stormy Daniels has seen a dramatic spike, according to the British paper, after the former president was snared for criminal activity. That's alleged criminal activity relating to an alleged hush fund money payment to the porn star in 2016. Daniels is catapulted back into the spotlight, which is a result of sharp rise in searches. The adult video site told TMZ that the same day Trump appeared in Manhattan criminal court, searches for Daniels went through the roof with over 650,000 perverts, people, seeking out her racy clips throughout the day.
Well, she still does this kind of stuff, so it's not like she just is retired from it. She still does it.
So, but what does that have to do with it spiking?
That's why it also is spiking, because it's not like they're just watching old stuff of
Oh,
her.
I see what you're saying. It's
Yeah.
not as if there's all this ancient content
Right.
from the 80s
Like
or
she's
something like
yeah.
that. She's still active in the porn industry.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, she has she promotes her OnlyFans on, like, her Twitter, like, constantly.
Oh, she's got one of those things too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a real credible witness to build a large scale indictment, the first ever of an American president on, isn't it?
Why do I feel like this is just a giant promotion thing for her? It's like
It's a Pornhub conspiracy.
well, no, it's just like a giant promotion thing. Like, she signed that NDA saying that there wasn't an affair, and then all of a sudden she was like, "Oh, by the way, it was a fake signature and there was an affair." And then why do I feel like that there's just like I don't know. I feel like that there actually isn't anything that she's like, "I'm only doing this to get clout."
Well, look, Alvin Bragg, is he really any different? He's somebody that's engaging in a exhibitionist exercise that is completely devoid of substance, but designed to ultimately advance his career.
Also, where's
how's that any different than performing on OnlyFans at the end of the day?
It's not. They're both
None of this is designed to actually advance justice.
No, there's nothing here. And they're like, "Oh, you could face up to multiple years in prison." I'm just like, "For what crime?" And then all 34 counts of his crimes were the same. They were all like falsified business records. And
they're ordinarily misdemeanors, but they bumped them all up to felonies.
Correct.
I wonder why.
I don't know. But where's that other girl? Karen McDougal? Where's she? Like, what happened to her? Apparently she had an alleged affair with Trump too. Like, where is she in all this?
None of it makes sense because, once again, it is not designed or intended to make sense.
No.
This is get the orange man because this is the Democrats' GOTV plan for 2024 and beyond. Dan mentioned earlier on tonight's program that they are assembling their army of influencers. Joe Biden stepped out into the middle of a stream. He blew his conch shell. They're all assembling. Dylan Mulvaney and the rest of them. I'm sure Dylan Mulvaney.
Oh, here we go. At the bottom of the article, the former president is now facing a maximum of 136 years behind the bars after being charged with 34 felonies for a catch and kill scheme.
Trump is going to be convicted. You do realize that, right?
Yeah.
They're going to find him guilty on some of this.
Yeah.
It's bogus, but he's going to be convicted. I'm with Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz, I wish I could find it. I read some commentary from him in the last few days heading into the Easter news black hole. And not that I'm putting my legal mind on par with his, but I do agree with his analysis. Trump's going to be convicted, but Trump is ultimately going to succeed on appeal. That's the most likely outcome here because there's no legal basis for any of this nonsense. But, and do we talk about this CNN poll?
No, because polls are stupid.
Well, I know polls are stupid. I know polls are stupid, but this is one of these polls that if there's any nugget of truth to it, then we are absolutely doomed as a republic. So I want you to consider this. So this is a CNN poll. The CNN poll dropped, let me see, April 4th. Okay, so the beginning of the week. A majority of Americans, including 62% of independents, were supportive of the Trump indictment. All right? Now, keep in mind, at the time this poll was conducted, most of these people had not, actually all of these people, had not seen the indictment, didn't know the substance of the charges, had not seen the state's evidence. They just don't like Donald Trump. And so they are fine with Donald Trump being convicted because they formed an opinion in their mind that this guy's crooked, he's slimy, he deserves his comeuppance.
Here's my favorite.
But hold on here, though.
Yeah.
So 62% of independents, a majority of Americans, 37% of those polled also believe that he didn't do anything criminal.
No, because he didn't.
Right, but you see the disconnect there.
Yeah,
A majority of
yeah.
people want him convicted. Only a third thought he actually did something criminal. If that's where we're at as a people, then I think I might have mentioned this on last week's program. I'm not one of these conservative talkers who's out there comparing Trump to Christ, okay? He is not in any way comparable to the carpenter from that was born in Bethlehem, folks. With that being said, there's a reason why our founders, who were Christians and steeped in the passion of Jesus Christ, that knew the story of a mob condemning Jesus to death without any evidence, without any due process, without any of the protections that are embodied in our Constitution that we as Americans take for granted. There's a reason why they wanted those things incorporated into our current model of governance, because they foresaw the potential for exactly this, for mob justice. And that's what the left is fomenting in this country right now. This is their end game. They want to be able to take out one of their political opponents, despite the fact that the majority of people don't even believe he actually did anything wrong, but simply because he committed political crimes, cultural crimes, perhaps even in their mind, moral crimes. If you're not scared by this, whether or not you're a conservative, 4 of 4, you vote Republican every year, listener to the Matt Rooney Show, or whether you're a wacko leftist that is listening to us out in California or somewhere up in New York City, and you hate every inch of everything that Donald Trump has ever done or said in his entire existence, you should still be spooked by this. This is not a road that we want to walk down as a people, because then you're going to find yourself in the situation that many of these flim-flam banana republic democracies find themselves in, where whenever the other side wins, the losers all go to jail and are persecuted. The republic's not going to last long, producer Dan.
No, I think this whole thing is stupid. I think it's only used for political gain.
And it's dangerous. That's the key point here. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's bigger than just whether Donald Trump ends up in a jail cell. That's part of this. It's not fair that he would, and it's something that should offend your sense of justice. But if you're someone who has a even cursory understanding of the situation and even just a little bit of foresight capacity in that brain of yours that God created, you have to see where this can end. And it's not someplace pretty.
I think the best part of the whole article is at the bottom. These 2 paragraphs. She was also found this week in an interview with Vogue magazine where she hit out at Trump for their alleged affair and said she didn't understand.
This is Stormy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
How the alleged fling even occurred. So she doesn't understand how it happened, but it happened. And her controversial online presence also included a salacious tweet immediately after Trump's arrest where she gloated that it was definitely more fun being under my sexy man instead of under arrest.
Is that a different man she's referring to?
Probably her husband.
Oh, I see. She's married?
Yes.
Wow, that must be that must be a lot of fun.
Yeah, she was also on
being married to somebody who professionally is under other people.
You said it, not me.
But I mean, seriously, is
No,
that
that's-
something as a
that's-
man or a woman that you would want?
No, that's got to be hard. That dude.
How dare they?
Oh man!
I actually am aroused by him.
I think I'll do a wraparound.
All right, let's move on.
She was on Pierce Morgan though too. On Thursday, I think.
Yeah.
We have some of that if you want.
I was wondering if there was a clip. Yeah, she was on there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
We just left it there.
it.
Don't have a clip. Just wanted to let you
No,
know.
we have some. I mean, if you ever want it, like if you wanted to.
Did I ever tell you about the time Piers Morgan went after me a little bit on Twitter?
Did he?
Yeah, he did.
Wow.
Yeah, he was complaining. Quick aside, he was complaining about the Second Amendment, and it was around July 4th, and I retweeted and said, something to the effect of nothing makes me happier on the 4th of July than Brits complaining about the Second Amendment. He then retweeted me and said something about, well, why don't you show me your bazookas?
Nice.
Yeah, so there you go.
Right here.
So
Right here.
I actually, well, right, exactly. Like the gun show is that way.
Yeah.
Piers Morgan. I actually do like a lot of what Piers puts out there. I hate his views on the Second Amendment, but I didn't take it personally.
Well,
But in any event, I cut you off, producer Dan.
Continue
with your duties.
Yeah. So if you want some of the Pierce Morgan, one of the clips that was played this past week, she basically went on and saying it wasn't non-consensual.
Okay.
So here, I'll only play a little bit. It's a long clip. It's about 2 minutes and 30.
Give us a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you believe it was all consensual then or not?
It wasn't non-consensual. And that brings us kind of back to where we are, in the world now. Like, does it have to be a clear yes? Like, are men getting punished for things that do every time you make love to somebody or go on a date? Do you have to have written consent?
What is she trying to say there? Like, is she trying to say that every time you go out for like a one-night stand, you got to have an NDA saying that?
Well, is she saying that that's a crazy circumstance in which to find oneself? Is that the point she's trying to make? If there's a theme to this hour, maybe that's it. Right? 2,000 years after the crucifixion of Jesus Christ, okay? And however many years, right, after the American Revolution, as a culture, on this Easter, who are we holding out as our cultural leaders, as our arbiters of truth? Whose hands are we putting the fate of our republic into? Influencers, porn stars, Twitter celebrities? We got to do a gut check.
I'll tell you who we're putting the hands of America in.
Oh, God.
Joe Ben.
Who?
Joe Ben.
You're disgusting.
Joe
Hey,
Ben.
It's Joe Ben. It's when Fetterman called him Joe Ben.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't speak idiot, so sometimes I forget. 855-839-1210, folks, is the number here on 1210 WPHT. The Matt Rooney Show. 1 hour already in the can. Special Easter edition, albeit a little PG-13. But guess what? If you like what you're hearing, 2 more hours left to go. 855-839-1210. Let's take a break, and we'll be back with more in just a few moments.
Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Matt Rooney on W1210 WPHT.
Hello again, and happy Easter, old friends, new frenemies, and all who lie somewhere in between on the spectrum. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. Honored to be with you every Sunday, but especially on Easter Sunday. He is risen. Our Lord and Savior has conquered death and the grave, and my fellow Christians have plenty to celebrate on this beautiful day, where it actually got up to about 60. I think that's what it said in my car on the way over here this evening to the 1210 WPHT studios. So I'm feeling pretty good. Not much to complain about. Well, I have some stuff to complain about. We've got 2 more hours, producer Dan, to complain about some things. And we will, because no one does that better than us, if I do say so myself. It is my show, so I'm a little biased. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show. As I say, 2 full hours of our program still left to go. We're on every Sunday, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. How was your Easter, Daniel? You had dinner yesterday. We talked about that in the first hour. Now you're getting to spend your actual Easter Sunday with me.
Yep.
I did not leave any eggs around the studio for you to find.
Stupid. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, I actually really didn't do anything for you. Does one do things for people on Easter other than children? Should I have brought you a plant?
You could have.
I guess I could have.
I don't really care.
That would have been considerate.
Yeah.
Would have been nice. So let me tell you a little bit about my trip to church this morning.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about this in the first hour, but there wasn't the right moment. But I think the second hour is the time to now that we've gotten all that discussion of porn stars
And sex tapes?
and sex tapes out of our system. Yeah, because that's how you open up a show on Easter. You poor people. I'm sure someone decided, you know what? Let's listen to that Matt Rooney show tonight. Get some wholesome conservative analysis.
No, and then they turn it on. You're talking about how Kim K's sex tape was quality, and Stormy Daniels.
I was being sarcastic. Sarcasm.
That's what they all say.
I'm a millennial. We're sarcastic.
That's what they all say.
Well, but I say
Like,
anyway.
if you've seen it, just admit that you've seen it. You'd be more of a man.
That's not the issue here. The issue is this whole quality comment, which was clearly meant sarcastically. Did you order the Code Red? You probably don't even get the reference. You haven't seen the movie A Few Good Men.
No.
Yeah, you're not it's wasted on you. 855-839-1210 is again that number. And by the way, if you're listening to tonight's program and you think to yourself, you know what, I just need to be a little bit more interactively involved with the Matt Rooney Show. I need to see Matt.
They should.
You should. I need to see Matt. I need to see Dan. I maybe want to type a comment. Maybe you're a little bashful and you don't want to call
kicking
it.
some serious ass.
That could be you too. That could be you too.
Yeah.
Boy, do I have a way for you to get involved. Producer Dan, why don't you tell them all about it?
Yeah, we are now streaming on YouTube.
The YouTubes.
YouTube.com/@1210 WPHT. You'll be able to see Matt and I in person. I don't know why you would, but if you go to youtube.com/@1210 WPHT, you'd be able to see the stream and all the videos that we've put up within the past couple weeks.
And you have to make sure you have the @ character in there, because a couple people have reached out already and said, hey there, Matt. Can't find it. It's because you're forgetting to put the character in. It's not /1210 WPHT. It's @
Right.
1210
Yes,
WPHT.
I know. I don't know why the ad is there. When I made the account.
Oh, so this is your fault?
No, YouTube automatically gives it to you.
Really?
Yeah. So I tried when I
But I
made,
have a YouTube channel, Save Jersey.
Right,
It's
it's like
/Save Jersey, and I don't have an ad.
it's like a new thing nowadays.
Oh.
So like when I made the account, it was the @1210 WPHT. I tried to change it. I tried to take it out, but you can't take it out.
All right.
So
another Dan fail.
that's not even.
Another Dan fail.
You know, I don't want to hear it. I'll have you guys know that I planned today's whole show for him.
No, that is true, folks. I completely phoned it in this week. It was a very busy week around the office. I am a lawyer, as some of you know. Dan, for some reason, is offended by the fact that I'm a lawyer.
Oh, you're a lawyer?
Yeah. Look, I don't know what to tell you, man. I got a real degree. You didn't.
I don't even
why,
have a
why
degree.
Are you?
I don't have a degree.
Well,
Yeah.
right. You technically don't have one for another month. But it was a busy week around the office taking care of our clients. And between that and all the holiday stuff, yeah, I mean, I've been following the news, obviously. That's my duty as your host. But usually I prepare this massive sheet of stories and clips, and I basically do Dan's job for him
so
here, and I make it easy. So this week I didn't do that.
So I decided.
So he actually had.
Yeah.
And what did you text me? Hold on. No, go ahead. Finish what you're going to
so
say,
I
and then I want to
decided.
share this.
I decided. Hey, I'm actually going to start taking my job more seriously on the show, and I'm going to start doing some show prep for them. So I was like, hey, here's a bunch of stories. Go ahead.
Yeah. So here's an actual Dan text. This is from Thursday at around 60. Doing some kind of weird military time thing. Thursday around 6:51 a.m., which I was shocked that you were up that early. But
I had to be here for the morning show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you do. You were in Nick Cale's program.
Yeah.
Yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forget sometimes that you have another job beyond what you do here on Sunday nights.
Which you were up at 7:02.
Well, I mean, I'm up way before that. I've got kids, man. But this is the exact Dan quote. He goes, "Just tell me if you want cuts. If you have a story, I can add it. I want to start actually producing the show. LOL." That's an exact quote. I want to actually start producing the show. LOL.
How does that sound?
Yeah.
That's what we're paying for around here.
Well, because you always did the show sheet. So I was like, there's nothing for me to do. So I was like, all right.
That's what it is. I made it easy. And that's the whole lawyer instinct. I over prepare for stuff.
Whereas like if you were just like a typical radio host, you would come in and be like, you would rely on the producer to do the stuff.
Yeah, and that hasn't been my style. That's part of the majesty of the Matt Rooney show. But I think we're at a point now where I'm comfortable just kind of letting you. I'm taking off the training wheels, Dan.
I told you I would start doing stuff for you, and I like the system that we got going on, and that's what we're gonna do.
This has worked out pretty well this week. I thought the first hour was stellar. I think this hour is going to be okay. Hopefully stellar. But it's all about setting low expectations and then eclipsing them.
Exceptional.
Ooh,
exceptional.
Somebody swallowed a dictionary over the holiday weekend.
I've been on holiday since Thursday.
Well, you're in school, so you're still.
Well, this isn't even my spring break. This is our Easter break.
Wait, hold on. You've got an Easter break and a spring break. Aren't they supposed to be overlapping?
That's where you're wrong.
Apparently.
My spring break was the end of February, into the early March. We had off since Thursday because I go to a Catholic school. So it's Holy Thursday, Good Friday, obviously Saturday, then Easter. And then I have off tomorrow just for the hell of it.
Just why not? Well, it's Easter Monday.
It's Easter Monday. That's why they give us off. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's the day where you eat the ham. You take the coleslaw you said your aunt made that was excellent. You put it on a bun. And you get like a Martin's potato roll.
Actually, yeah, that's what I had today. That's what I had today. A ham sandwich on a Martin's potato roll. And Grieg is checking in on YouTube saying we were going to color eggs, but we can't afford eggs.
That's true. If all the eggs my son found at Easter egg hunts over the past few days, if they were actually real eggs, I could sell them, invest them, and probably not have to pay for college. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Well, you don't have to pay for college anymore. So, are you still paying off your loans?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be paying off my loans until my kids go to college. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. So then never mind. Forget I said anything.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
How can anybody turn that down?
And I'm in that cohort where, and I'm sure many of you listening are in the same boat. I do well enough where when eventually we get a full-on, not afraid to admit it, communist president, I'm not going to get any relief or very little when they forgive all the loans. But I'm not wealthy enough where obviously it doesn't matter. That's where the American middle class is in 2023. They're not governing for us. The Democrat coalition that controls the federal government, that dictates the direction of our culture, that calls most of the shots. It is a party, a coalition of the very rich and the very poor. People who are either too destitute and dependent upon government or too insanely wealthy to care about market forces. That's who they serve. All the rest of us in between that actually have to work hard and take out those loans, but we pay them back. right? As we earn our salaries that hopefully we got as a result of getting those degrees from these institutions of higher learning. See, that's more sarcasm there, Dan. I'm trying to teach you about it.
I don't know what sarcasm is.
Was that sarcasm?
You should teach me.
That was pretty good.
Thanks.
I saw what you did there.
Thanks.
Hey there.
Like that?
I
Like that?
did. I
No
did.
one is more sassy.
Good
than
night,
me.
everybody.
No one is more sassy than I am.
You are a bit sassy.
And you
And
can. My mom will even tell you how sassy I am.
And I'm glad that you brought up sassy.
Oh boy.
I'm glad that you brought up sass. I
There
am.
we go.
No, this was an unintentional segue, but so I was at church this morning, and mea culpa. I'm a Catholic boy. I was an altar server. Like a lot of young parents, I have a baby and I have a toddler. We haven't been going to church as much as we used to before we did, right? Because it's a little bit harder. But my son, we're starting to try to make sure he's going and learning about this stuff, and we want him integrated in his faith. So I've been going more often, trying different churches. We were at one South Jersey church today for services. I'm not going to say which, but
It was that church in South Jersey.
it was a church in South Jersey. That's all you need to know for tonight's purposes. Oh my God. Don't get me wrong. There was plenty of things to love about it, but how things have changed in the church in recent years, and especially after COVID. I'll give you one example. So there's the sign of peace. You're familiar with this Are you Catholic, by the way, Dan?
No,
What are you?
Lutheran.
You're Lutheran. Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool.
But I just go to a Catholic college.
That's fine.
They gave me the most.
So long
money.
as you're willing to pay.
They gave me the most money. So
That's how the church has always been. As long as you're willing to kick in your cash. That's actually ironically how Lutheranism began, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
see what I did there?
always went to a Lutheran church. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I love Lutherans. I actually grew up next to a Lutheran minister.
Oh, well, glad that you finally admit that you love me.
I didn't say I loved you. I said he was a nice guy. But in any event, Lutheranism very similar to Catholicism in terms of how the liturgy works. So there's the sign of peace, right? Do you have the sign of peace where they say,
You're-
"Let us show each other the sign of peace," and you shake hands?
You are
You don't have that?
boss. I couldn't tell you.
Okay. All right. Well,
It's
all right.
been a
So,
while. I think the last time I went to church was when I got confirmed.
okay. All right. So
It's been a while.
you haven't seen any movies. You don't go to church.
I've seen movies.
Very few.
I've seen movies.
Very few. So they do this thing where they say, sign of peace. Traditionally, you would turn, you shake hands with people around you. You say, "Peace be with you."
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
a day like
yeah,
today, you
we
say,
do that. Yeah,
you say Happy Easter.
yeah, they've done
right?
that. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes.
No
yes.
one shakes hands anymore, and half the people surrounding me had masks on. I guess in anticipation of it being a crowded day, and they're worried about catching the vid.
Well, we were
So
at,
I'm standing there. You got to picture me,
yeah.
right? I've got my bright.
Well, go
whatever
ahead.
this
Do
is,
it to
green
the
and
camera.
pink
The camera's
shirt.
on.
Yeah, I've got my shirt on and I'm beaming. I got my beautiful family with me, and I'm looking to shake hands, man. I'm in the mood. I would have given a hug if given the opportunity. And everyone just kind of gives you this. They got their mask and they just kind of like wave at you. And one person, I sort of got, peace be with you, right? But they're wearing a mask. So it's like that.
Yeah. What is it?
It's
we
so
were
impersonal.
my.
What
mom-
is this?
I have no idea. My mom, dad, and I were all at IKEA over the weekend. One guy, mask and latex gloves,
Shopping or working?
working.
Okay.
No one else. Like he was the only worker that had them.
I always cut a little more slack to people that work with the general public because let's be honest. I mean, anybody that's ever worked in a job where you deal with the general public, like I worked in a deli for a bunch of summers, a lot of gross people out there.
Well,
Shopping, I can't unless you're severely immunocompromised. You've got late stage cancer or something. Then I'm sorry, it's goofy. But
well, when I worked with the public, when I was at Dorney over the summer, which I'm still there, when they lifted the COVID restrictions, I couldn't wait. I was so ecstatic. I could not wait to take those masks
you're ready
off.
to take that mask off.
Oh, dude, I didn't even wear it in the first place. It was always below my nose.
Yeah.
Just because you're in the blazing sun and 90-degree weather in the middle of summer, I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
I don't care if they were coughing on me. I couldn't wait.
Well, they were making a comeback today at church. And again, you see some elderly people wearing them. I have a little bit more sympathy because even though scientifically it may not make a whole heck of a lot of sense. I mean, I can understand if you're old and you got a condition where you're a little bit scared. I'm not going to that's where I part with some of my conservative friends. I have over at SaveJersey.com and on this show made fun of masking as much as anybody else, but but it was young people. It was everybody. Clearly, most of these people aren't immunocompromised. So that's one thing. Then the priest, who actually gave a pretty good homily, I thought. He, at the end of it, decides to conclude with a verse from Scripture, a personal story of a time when he had some kind of interaction with a parishioner that really, affirmed the Easter story, some experience in his own life where he overcame some sort of hurdle. Now, he read Maya Angelou's Still I Rise. And the reason why this ties in with your sassy comment is because one of the lines in that particular poem, Daniel, because I'm going to go on a limb here and say you're probably not a big Maya Angelou
No, but here's a live performance.
fan. One of the lines is, do we need some like some beatnik music or something? Do we have anything like that?
Some what?
I don't know, something you would read poetry to. You're a producer. Be resourceful.
Let's see here. I think this is good.
You said you want to produce now. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? Because I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. That's Maya Angelou. And here's the line that the priest really leaned into in church. And I want you to envision this, folks. Have you been to Easter services, Easter Mass? It's the one day of the year besides Christmas that everybody's there, standing room only. Hundreds of people, including children. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs?
Nice.
I think I'll do a wraparound.
Nice.
In church on Easter Sunday, from the pulpit, a Catholic priest.
Good for that guy.
And you could tell that he could not wait to lean into that. He was loving every minute of it. And I'm sitting there, mouth open. My wife's telling me to close my mouth because she can, to the surprise of no one, even if you're not watching us on our YouTube channel, I'm one of those people where I wear what I think of my face. I can't help it. I try to develop a poker face. Sometimes I'm better at it than others. It is what it is. I clearly have a disgusted look on my face, not because I'm a prude, but because this is Easter Sunday at a church and there's children everywhere. What does this have to do with Easter? And it brought me back to one of the unintentional themes of tonight's Matt Rooney Show Easter edition. Specifically, that our culture is really in trouble. And it's not just the Insta celebrities and the social media celebrities and all the other jokers we talked about in the first hour of tonight's program. It's even infecting some institutions, including my church, the church I grew up in, which aren't supposed to be traditional in the sense that they're inflexible, right? Because you have to minister to the flock that you have, right? And you got to find new ways to reach people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm also not saying we shouldn't be compassionate to all people. What I am saying is that if you want to continue to advance the mission of that church and protect the integrity of that institution, you got to have some kind of standards. And you have to stand for something. And you got to wonder, and I don't know many of my fellow Catholics out there listening to this, increasingly when you go to some churches on Sunday, you have to wonder, what's the state of the church and what is the institution itself actually standing for these days? I'm talking about the men at the helm, right? I'm not talking about the body of Christ here. It's a little deflating, especially for maybe my fellow young parents out there that, I would like my son to go to Catholic school. I want to raise my children in the faith. What's that faith going to look like in another 10 years, 30 years?
Body
If
of
the
Christ
leaders
shed
of
for
that-
you.
What's that?
The body of Christ shed for you.
Is that something you say at the Lutheran
Yeah, when you do
Lutheran
communion.
services? Oh, yeah, we don't say that.
Oh, when they gave us the piece of bread, body of Christ shed for you.
Okay, yeah, no, that we use different lines.
No, well,
So you remember something.
yeah, I'm not stupid.
I didn't say you were stupid.
I told you
Don't be
last
so
time.
defensive. I
last-
simply was remarking on the fact that you said you haven't been in a while.
Yeah,
It wasn't judgment.
I had to do my confirmation by myself. Like everyone else did their own thing, and then me, I had to do mine by myself because we were on vacation the weekend that everyone got confirmed. So like we had to do it the following weekend, and it was very awkward because I was the only one there.
That shows a lot of commitment that you. It wasn't like, oh, I was sick in the hospital or something.
No,
I decided to take a vacation.
well, we had the vacation planned.
And then they did one specially for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, was it like a Catholic service where it's in front of the whole congregation?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that had to be a little bit.
It was like during a church service. It wasn't like
You don't even like the producer cam.
I've gotten used to it at this point.
Well, you really don't have a choice. But the point is, you didn't even love that.
Well, no.
So to stand up there in front of an entire congregation.
Yeah, it was in front of it was a full Sunday service. They're like,
Okay.
all right, now we're gonna welcome up Daniel. He's gonna get confirmed. If you've been a part of his life, come on up.
Is that what he says?
Touch his shoulder.
Oh man.
Like, who are you people? Yeah.
Wow, I would have liked to be there for that.
No, I didn't know you at that point. I was only 16, 17.
Hey, by the way, speaking of which, I'm trying to plan here. How long is this graduation thing going to take? Do we have any estimate on this entire thing?
Hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay, because I'm trying to figure out the whole babysitter situation.
Hour and a half to 2 hours, and then we're going to a restaurant down the street. You're more than welcome to join us for that if you want as well. If not, don't worry about it.
Okay. What if I just want to come for the food and I have no interest in actually watching you walk?
You can come. You can come just for the food if you want.
So long as I bring a present.
You can come for the food. Here's the thing. I only get 6 tickets.
That's the thing. I'm coming either way because I am so flattered that you're giving me one of your 6 tickets.
Yeah, I only get 6 tickets. I mean, if you want to go just for the food afterward, you're more than welcome to. But if you want to sit there and go through everyone else's name, you're welcome to as well. You don't have to, so don't feel like you're obligated to go through the whole thing. But if you want to come just for the food and the booze afterward, you're more than welcome to.
See, part of what I'm thinking is it would be good content for the radio show because this was never about you.
There's going to be
I could go and I could produce some video for 1210 WPHT.
I'm telling you right now, there's going to be absolutely nothing spectacular. It's going to be a typical graduation. The president's going to say a speech. Probably some of the nuns are going to get up there, say something, and then they're going to call names. And then after that's done.
And that's it.
Yeah. They're going to say by each school, and they're going to go by.
You're really selling this thing.
It's a typical graduation. I don't know what you want. I'm not going to do like a backflip if that's what you want.
Well, I mean, you at least have some duty to entertain us if you're inviting us. Come on.
I told you.
Are you gonna try to say anything? Like,
No.
People sometimes yell something out.
No.
Like, Matt, you're my hero.
No.
Matt, you're my inspiration.
I can send you a little heart, But no, if you don't want to go for the walk, you're more than welcome to join us after.
Well, I'm just trying to figure this out because I've been to graduations. My brother went to Penn State. We were there for hours. And I need to plan accordingly.
I'll say like 2 hours at the most.
Okay. Well, let's talk to the dean and see if we can get this down to like an even hour.
It's not going to be an even hour.
All right, I'll call this week. 855-839-1210.
I would say your best bet is an hour and a half to 2 hours because when I did spring graduation last year, when I was filming it, it was like an hour and a half.
Okay.
But like, as I said, don't feel the need that you have to be there for the whole time if you don't want to. You're more than welcome just to join us for the food and the booze afterward.
Oh, there's going to be booze?
Yeah. Now that changes everything.
It does. And I actually, by the way, spoiler alert, cue the music. I'm going to give you a engraved copy of Maya Angelou's I Also Rise.
Oh, yeah.
Does my sexiness upset you?
I mean,
you may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard because I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard?
this is getting sexual.
It's sassy.
It's getting sexual.
It's sassy. But apparently this was great content for a homily at Easter.
Yeah, Marilyn, my mom says I'm like sassy bastard.
That's just as you are. Just now she said.
Yeah, I get
I'm really, by the way, only going to this graduation, so yeah. Like I want to get the whole lowdown on you, figure out why you're messed up. I want to be able to report
it.
back
If you want that,
to the
then
listeners of the Matt Rooney Show.
if you want that, just go to the afterward. She'll tell you everything.
Now we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Oh, by the way, we got to take a break, don't we?
Yeah.
We're just chatting here like we don't have to make any money.
Yeah.
We're going to play some ads, make some cash for the station, and be back on the Matt Rooney Show in just one twitch of a bunny's nose. See how I made that Easter-like? You're disgusted. Be back in a second.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Welcome back to the very special Easter edition of the Matt Rooney Show. Hope you're enjoying the day. Hope you're excited for spring. Hope that you're feeling hopeful because you're an American. And I know things seem a little dark and a little gloomy and a little depressing because we got to talk about a lot of heavy stuff. But whenever you live in the greatest nation in God's creation, there is always the opportunity for renewal. If we make the right arguments, if we put in the work, and if we go out there and advance the cause that we all hold near and dear to our hearts. And that's what we do here on the Matt Rooney Show. We give you the information you need to push the ball down the field. And we also connect you with some of the experts as guests who can provide you with the, let's find a way to put this, Dan, the ham in the post-Easter sandwich. Meat.
For the egg salad, the eggs in the egg salad.
I mean, I love egg salad, but
Okay.
what does egg salad have to do with the day after Easter? Because of the eggs?
Yeah, I mean, you have all
Okay.
these leftover eggs. What are you going to do with them?
Well,
Make
yeah,
egg
but
salad.
but you don't really actually have real eggs. They're little plastic things you stick candy.
You don't have hard-boiled eggs that you dye.
Well, yeah, but do you want to eat them after you dye the outside of them?
It's
I
just
guess that's safe.
It's just the outside.
Well, why don't you look that up? Is that safe?
Yeah, you're peeling it off.
I don't know. Maybe
Oh
some of the
my
dye gets into the egg.
Is
See,
it
once you have
safe
kids, you start
to
to look at
eat
this stuff differently.
dyed eggs?
I was going to ask your mother at your graduation party, what's wrong with you? Now I know you've been eating dyed eggs your entire life. Worked its way to your brain.
I mean, I don't really care. I've been eating them.
That's evident.
You can dye Easter eggs with food coloring, which is safe to eat. Which there you go.
All right. Okay. You probably also want to check what kind of dye you're using, I'd imagine.
Dude, I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't know why you're coming at me hot. It's unbelievable. This is ridiculous.
Are you feeling the pressure?
Stop coming at me.
You're starting to break.
I don't have the answers for. I mean, we used one of those kits, like those egg dyeing kits.
Yeah.
But like we added water and vinegar, so like it's fine.
My grandmother was Ukrainian, her sister's Ukrainian, and they used to stencil Easter eggs.
Yeah.
The very ornate
So I don't see why
patterns that you see.
I don't see why you
sometimes.
wouldn't be able to just peel the eggs off.
I guess so. All right, I'm just making sure it was
Stop coming at me, man.
It was an innocent question.
No, it wasn't.
People have no idea what I put up with. 855-839-1210, by the way, is the number if you want to call in and opine. I don't know why, because he's probably going to get defensive with you on the phone.
No. Just you. Just you.
Just me?
Yeah, just you.
How can anybody turn that down?
I don't know.
It's a fair question. Let's get to our guest. I need to talk to someone else.
Serious ass.
I love that clip. That one never gets old.
I'm done with this. I'm done with you.
Let's keep our relationship fresh, Daniel. I'll talk to somebody else for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I gotta take a Waz. So.
Excuse me? Excuse me? You have to what?
Waz.
What? I don't know which part of that I'm more disappointed in. I'll tell you what. Turn the producer cam off. Just for the rest of the show,
say less.
Silence.
There you go. Now it's just a solo layout
now
of you.
It's just a solo show, folks. I'm just gonna sing "Here Comes Peter Cottontail" for the next hour and a half. Oh God! All right. Well, you go take care of your thing. Okay. Probably sit down to do it, but
yeah, probably.
In any event, Jake Morabito, American Legislative Exchange Council, folks, is tonight's guest. You are aware, doubtless, that the fate of TikTok is one of the great questions of the moment right now in American culture. Not only in the culture, because parents, I think, are beginning to understand how problematic, there's a term the left loves to use, how problematic this platform is for our kids, but also because TikTok poses a national security risk to our country because of China's established ability to use it to harvest the personal and potentially dangerous information of its American users. So what happens going forward? Is the federal government going to intervene and make TikTok illegal? Or, as our next guest has suggested, is the fate of TikTok actually in the hands of the states? Without further ado, Jake Morabito, Director of the Communications and Technology Task Force over at ALEC. Welcome to the Matt Rooney Show, and happy Easter. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on, Matt. Happy Easter.
My pleasure. Dan for the next few minutes. He's just out of control. And I think, Jake, part of the problem is I got to him too late. I didn't meet him until he was 21.
Come on.
And he spent too much time on TikTok.
Now
his brain was already ruined.
Now we're just
yeah, I think we needed to ask ChatGPT whether or not you can dye Easter eggs and eat them.
It's going to be the next TikTok challenge. They're going to call it danning, right?
Really,
Put a bunch of dye in your food and then eat it and see
Am I
what
really
happens.
the only one who just eats Easter eggs that have been dyed?
I've never heard of anyone doing it. And I make no warranty as to whether it's safe or not. Look, we'll revisit this when our guest is gone. Okay? My wife has actually said that to me before. We'll revisit this when our company leaves, Daniel. In any event, Jake, so let's ask the threshold question up front. Do you think that TikTok is actually on its way out? Or is this just the issue of the moment and it's eventually going to blow over?
Well, there's certainly significant momentum around this idea of banning TikTok. Now, ALEC recently put out a new report kind of analyzing what's been done at the state and federal levels as far as restricting access to TikTok. Now, going back to even as early as 2020, you had some states like Nebraska took the steps to restrict the use of TikTok on all state government devices and state government networks. So think state agency staffers, smartphones and laptops, that type of a thing. This really started to heat up again in December of 2022. And now you've had, since then until today, you have 30 out of 50 states have taken action to restrict TikTok and other Chinese-owned or foreign-owned applications from state networks and state devices. The federal government did the same in December 2022. And then why everyone's talking about it now is because the CEO of TikTok recently testified before Congress about all these concerns that you raised about national security risk and Americans' data. And now there's legislation being introduced at the federal level that would ban TikTok. So that kind of takes us to where we are today. And just for your New Jersey listeners, Governor Murphy did take such a step to restrict TikTok and several other Chinese and foreign-owned companies from their state networks and devices.
He did. And then across the river in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, of course, they've restricted its use at some agencies, but not others. Are you aware of what exactly the logic is of why there's certain agencies and departments in Pennsylvania that have been prohibited from using it, but others not so much?
Yeah, as far as I can understand in the Pennsylvania situation, it was in the individual agency heads in certain departments decided to take steps, but the governor has not done a blanket prohibition across all states. And each state's done it a little differently. Some have had it where it only affects the executive branch. Some it affects all, including the legislature, public universities, and more. And actually, you've had 4 states this legislative session: Idaho, Virginia, Kentucky, and I think Tennessee. They've actually passed legislation at the state level to restrict TikTok, which is more permanent, more lasting than an executive action. So states are active in this space. And again, there's some legislation being introduced at the federal level, although there are some problems with one of the major proposals called the Restrict Act that would, some legal analysts and commentators worry that it'll enable the federal government to enact a surveillance regime over American citizens and possibly even being used to restrict American apps because of how it was left pretty vague. The Restrict Act doesn't even mention TikTok by name. So there's anyone who is a fan of limited government and keeping the government out of the private activities. There are some concerns with the way that the legislation is currently written.
And this is the dilemma. You've just touched it with a pin that's facing all Americans that at least want to look at this in not an hysterical way, but in an analytical way. On the one hand, we love government being as restricted as possible. You just said limited government. That's how I feel about it too. And I know most of our listeners do. We also traditionally, as conservatives and people of the right, prefer when states take the lead. They're the laboratories of democracy. At the same time, we know that China is the geopolitical threat of the 21st century, not Russia. It's China. Russia, at best, is a pawn of the Chinese regime at this point. It's a puppet state. And ultimately, it's a national security threat where Dan and I were talking about this earlier tonight on the program. God knows what they're going to be able to accrue in terms of, for example, blackmail vulnerable information on American officials, perhaps their children, and that's only the start of it all. It's scary stuff. So, I mean, where does a freedom-minded individual go on this topic? I mean, should we embrace the concerns that are associated with this being a national security risk, and this is just one of those rare issues where it's appropriate for the feds to jump in? Or in your mind, is this something where the state should appropriately take the lead and maybe help us figure out where that appropriate balance is?
Well, I think the states have done a great example of, again, each state's done it a little differently, and they've been able to experiment as to which applications are blocked. But also, the free market is at work. And a lot of, as you, I'm sure, have seen, a lot of the other social media applications like Instagram Reels, Snapchat, YouTube Shorts, and there are even some new apps that are cropping up to compete with TikTok. And what kind of brought this to the fore is the fact that TikTok recently revealed that there are 150 million U.S. monthly active users. That's almost half the country logs onto TikTok at least once a month to use it. But the other platforms are catching up, and I think especially as some of these concerns become more widely known, I think you will see some of those creators and users switch over. In the meantime, I think if the federal government is going to pursue some sort of restrictions on TikTok, they need to laser target the goal here, if it's national security, and figure out what is the best way to achieve that while being the least restrictive on individual citizens' right. Because that's what we're talking about here, right? Is banning private citizens from using a private social media network on their personal devices. So that's a lot different than government devices, where
Right.
as the employer, I think it's certainly within the purview of a governor or an agency to say what software can or cannot be used on the devices that taxpayers are paying for. But it's totally different when it's private citizens.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. I
also want to jump in here real quick.
Go right ahead.
I have a genuine question for you, Jake. What is the difference between TikTok getting our information and China having all these different, undercover police stations within New York doing the same exact thing? How is this any different than that?
I don't know too much about that second piece you mentioned there, but it is concerning, right? And that's why you have some states like New Jersey and others. It's not just TikTok they've restricted. They've identified some other software, or like in the past, you've heard a lot about telecommunications equipment by Huawei and ZTE, which are two Chinese companies, and the fear that by implementing that telecom equipment, that puts national security at risk here in the U.S. So it's across many different fronts. And again, it's certainly something that state and federal lawmakers should be looking at. But before they definitely need to think carefully here. Again, this Restrict Act bill, it's very vaguely written, and I think if anyone's going to be considering this bill, there needs to be some more work to be done to make sure individual rights are protected.
TikTok, something we maybe have to be concerned about, but as usual, the federal government is poised, and this is what I think I'm getting from what you're telling us tonight, Jake. They're poised to overreach. They're poised to use what is a legitimate national security concern, but in addressing it, they're going to try to take a little bit more of our freedom away. And we see this happen over and over again over the course of time. Like case in point, obviously, we needed to take a look at airport security after 9/11, but we all know what the Patriot Act and some of the TSA-related reforms after 9/11 ultimately ended up achieving for the American people. I don't know if we got safer. We certainly got a lot less free. So I think if there is one thing to take away from this conversation, you should always scrutinize anything, anytime the government tries to prohibit your or prescribe your behavior, regardless of what it is, even if there's a very good reason to do it. Jake, how do we find more of your work and more of what Alec is doing on this particular topic online?
Sure. Anyone can visit our website, alec.org, to learn more about publications like this, about TikTok, but also issues like ChatGPT and a host of model legislation that state legislators can take back to advocate for limited government principles.
And where are you? Are you on Twitter, Facebook? Are you on TikTok? Do you have a TikTok?
I do not have a TikTok. You can find me on Twitter. If you go to alec.org, you can see the handle.
Perfect. Dan has a TikTok. I do not. And
I do.
And he's not getting rid of it. You can take it from his cold, dead hand. That's
correct.
That's how strongly he feels about TikTok. Jake Morabito from ALEC, Director of Communications and Technology Task Force over there, doing some very interesting work and helping us shed light on this important issue. We appreciate you joining us on Easter, no less. Hope to talk to you again soon about this topic.
Great. Thanks for having me on.
Take care, Jake. Thanks. So, Daniel, did you learn anything?
No.
He wasn't trying to change your mind.
No, he wasn't. No, I'm not saying that he was trying to sit here and change my mind. I'm firm on my stance. I just don't think don't you think they would have done something with our information if they already had it? Since TikTok has been around for like years.
Well, how do you know they're not? For example, if they're using the information to blackmail people, the nature of blackmail is people don't stand up and say, "Hey, I'm being blackmailed."
I mean, I do that. But it's still like no one has given me a solid answer. And I'm willing and I want someone to tell me what the difference is between having TikTok, them getting our information from TikTok, and how these people are not getting our information from these Chinese police stations within major cities.
Or these balloons that we allow to crisscross the country. And
Correct.
now,
So what?
after weeks of gaslighting us, they're like, oh, yeah, it did get some sensitive information.
Right. So how are any of those things different? Like how are specifically the
well, we're talking about different policy concerns, right?
Specifically,
so the balloon situation, okay?
Stations.
The balloon situation and these police stations that have been written about, these are foreign actors behaving in a way that is a violation of not only our laws, but also international modes of or I should say standards of behavior, right? They're doing something that is illegal. So that should be an easy answer. We should be intercepting them, or at least, confronting them in the way that it's most appropriate to do so, right? This is taking away the rights of private individuals to access an app that they use every day. So it's an entirely different liberty interest.
Yeah, but how is this? Okay, going another thing.
Okay.
How is this any different than Twitter, Facebook, Instagram taking our information as well?
Well, because they're not run by although you could be forgiven for thinking that all of Silicon Valley is not in the pocket of the Chinese.
I mean,
but they're not owned by China.
Right, but China could literally just go to Mark Zuckerberg and be like, hey, give me this guy's information. He would do it.
Well, would he?
Probably.
Look, you're not wrong in the sense that the information we provide to these platforms and the power we give them over our lives is something deeply, deeply concerning. And I agree with you that the Biden administration in particular has been very uneven in its approach to tackling China. Case in point, why did you allow this balloon to fly over our military installations and gather all that information? But TikTok is where you draw the line. I can't answer that for you because I'm a rational human being that cares about the security of this country. And the Biden administration, we know, does not share those priorities. So I'm not going to answer for them.
Well, I just think that if TikTok was such a big issue, and I know they've been trying to ban it since Trump. No one's done anything about it yet. They're like, oh, we're going to do it. And little by little, they're starting to do it, but no one has made such a major impact on it. Don't you think if like it
well, you know why they haven't banned it yet? Because you, Chief.
Yeah, there's people who are still using it.
Well, Jake just said it, right? So you have nearly half the country using this thing.
Yes.
And disproportionately, they're Gen Zers and millennials who go on there to watch their stupid videos. We're going to play some of them later on tonight's program on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
And they love this stuff. And the politicians are afraid if they ban it, there's going to be a backlash from young voters. And Democrats in particular, who rely heavily on empty-headed college students to turn out and cast ballots for them, it's not something in their business model that they think that they can afford. That's why it hasn't happened yet.
You have to look. Okay, here we go. I looked up like the demographics of it by age. 10 to 19-year-olds, 25% of TikTok, which is the most. 20 to 29, 22.4, 30 to 39, 21.7, 40 to 49, 20 to 20.3, and 50 plus is 11%. So you have those 10 to 19 people who probably majority of them can't even vote yet because it's 10 to 19 and you can't vote until you're 18, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you have 10.
They want to change that, by the way.
I know they want to put it to 16, but you have 10 to 17-year-olds using this app that make up majority of the users on this app that have no influence on elections at all because they cannot vote.
But when we're talking about that pool of people, 150 million or whatever it is that Jake said it was, those percentages, that's still a lot of people that are eligible to vote.
There you go. 1 in 4 TikTok users are under 20 years old.
All right. And a lot of them are 18 to 19.
The majority of creators are 18 to 24. 57% of TikTok users are female.
52%?
57.
57, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah.
So young women. That is the core growth group of the Democrat Party.
Right, but it's not just U.S. people that are, and I'm not trying to sit here and I'm not trying to like argue with you at all. I don't want you to think that I'm going to sit here and argue with you. I'm just having a simple conversation.
Why would I ever think that?
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't want you to think that I'm sitting here and being like, this guy sucks at his job. But it's not just
You actually told me that repeatedly.
Yeah.
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 You're
This guy
on
sucks.
record saying the exact opposite.
Really, this guy sucks.
Yeah.
But why is it just the U.S.? Because, I mean, this stats also say almost 90% of Saudi Arabian adults use TikTok.
Well, again, though, I mean, I'm not here to worry about Saudi Arabia's national security. The kingdom can take care of itself.
Then we can take care of ourselves as well.
Right. So that's what I'm saying here. I mean, are we going to open our citizens up to an app that we know our enemy is using to get vital information to use for nefarious purposes? Harvesting that data for God knows what.
Oh, here we go. The U.S. has the single largest TikTok audience with over 135 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sharing deeply personal things.
Yeah, I mean, that I do agree with you on.
I mean, look, I think Jake raises very good points. You have to be very careful if you're going to do this, how you do it.
I think he also makes
But I
good
don't
points.
think your attitude that, oh, it's no big deal. This isn't something we should be worried about. It's not something we should be talking about. I'll tell you my strongest opinion. My strongest opinion remains I do not think that minors should be able to use some of these social media platforms.
There's some of them that I agree with.
I think it's bad for their development. It's bad for their brains, and we're starting to see some data coming out to that respect. Also, you're making changes to your public persona, right? You're putting things out there in the ether that could haunt you for the rest of your life, and you don't have the capacity to know what you're doing.
There's a couple more things that I want to.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
though?
no,
like you do something stupid at school, a prank, and you get suspended or something. That can get expunged from your file, right?
Sure,
You can go on and you can do great things in your life. You put up some video on TikTok saying something off color, shaking your rear end in a way that's embarrassing or salacious, right? That's with you until the end of time.
No, I agree. No,
and by the way, in the case of TikTok, China now has that video.
That I do agree with. There's some things that you shouldn't be posting on TikTok. I think just like all social media, there's some things that you shouldn't be posting on social media, and there's some things that you can because anyone can find that information.
Yeah, and since your brain doesn't stop developing until you're in your mid-20s, I mean, why are we letting 15-year-olds use this stuff? I think it's stupid. They don't need.
I don't post anything on TikTok because, quite frankly, there's nothing that I need for people to see, nor do I really care. I'm on it for the entertainment purposes only.
No, we take the dumb things people are doing and we bring it here to the Matt Rooney
Correct.
Show
Yeah,
TikTok.
you get what I'm trying to say. But there's just
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
There's just some things that doesn't need to be shared on TikTok, and I have actually a couple of those for TikTok tonight.
Yeah, which we will have at the end of our third hour.
Yeah.
So coming up in just about a little under an hour.
Yeah.
Until we play Twitter. You know what we should actually do? After this argument that you started,
It's not an argument.
This fight you picked with me. Let's cleanse our palates a little bit.
I'm just something. It's not an argument. I'm just passionate about something.
I'm just happy to see you feel passionate about something. This is a week of passion for you. You've indicated to me, as I mentioned earlier in the show, that you actually want to do your job now.
Passion of Christ.
This is the passion of the Dan. You actually want to do your job now. You're stirred to participate in the debate. I think that's the first time you've asked a guest a question.
Yeah, it is.
I was very proud of you.
One last thing on the whole TikTok thing. And
no, keep going. Keep going.
And then we'll get to the fact of the week.
No. Go ahead. We're just glad you're into the show.
There's no reason. I don't think bans are going to do anything. So they can throw bans out the door. Like people will find a way to get around it. Like you have, you can jailbreak an iPhone and still get the app off the App Store. But
so you're saying this is going to be like Napster, like people downloading music even though they're not permitted to?
Yeah, you can get a torrent for it. However, I think taking it off the App Store would be the first step if they really want to ban this thing. The people who have the app can keep it. But they can't get it anymore for the new users. So like if they took it off tomorrow, I would still have it and you would have to go through multiple loopholes to try and get it. If that makes sense. Because I don't think just banning them completely is going to do anything because people are like, no matter what, people are going to find a way to get around it. You take it off the App Store, people are going to find a way to get to it, but it's going to be a lot harder.
So what would you do?
Just
take it off the App Store and that's it?
Correct. That means you have to put multiple more steps and multiple barriers for these people to go around just to get this app. Where to some people they don't have that attention span. They're not going to be like, "Oh, it's I don't want to do this.
It's too hard to find."
Exactly.
Right. It's
Whereas-
like I was always too lazy to go and find ways to download my own music.
Correct. Whereas the people have it, can keep it, but the people who want it and they can't get off the apps or got to go through all these steps, and at that time they'll be like, it's too much steps. I don't want to do it. That's all I got.
All right, Dan. Hey, listen, that was well reasoned.
Hey,
Wow, I'll tell you, it's a whole new you.
Yeah.
Look at you being engaged.
I'm always engaged, but I think this is the one thing that peeves me off.
All right, well. So why don't you continue with your good work and give us some knowledge that we don't already have about the world around us. It's time for your fact of the week.
Yeah, it's a Easter themed one. I got two facts for you. How about that?
Okay.
How about that? Americans.
It's like when you open an egg and it's got two pieces of chocolate in it.
There you
instead of
go.
one. Yeah.
Americans spend 1.9 billion on Easter candy. That's the second biggest candy holiday after Halloween.
That makes sense.
Yes. The second one, most store-bought Easter egg kits have food-safe dyes, so you can usually eat the eggs after they've dried.
Most. So you should still read the label.
Correct, but they're
All
not.
right.
But it's not like it's hazardous.
Okay.
It's
Look,
like glue.
it was just a. Oh, I have so many questions when I finally meet your mom.
Is it toxic or is it non-toxic? You know?
By the way, Mike on YouTube, watching us over at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@1210WPHD. He says, I've always eaten dyed eggs.
Yeah. Which
So
Mike,
apparently there's a lot of dyed egg eaters out there.
which Mike's got my back because he's a fellow Newman alum.
All right. Well,
And then you have Gray.
now we know what you Newman guys get up to.
And then you have Grieg saying, "I am more concerned about what these spy balloons can download into our systems like malware." Well, buddy, let me tell you, that's not how malware happens into a computer. You can't just do it.
But look, back to your point, I'm not saying it's wrong.
No.
That of everything going on right now in this confrontation that's building between us and China, there are a lot of other things that are probably a bigger issue than TikTok. That's not to say I disagree with doing something about it. Like, for example, the fact that the Chinese continue to make leaps and bounds with the strength of their Navy while we allow our Navy to atrophy. That's something that is much more concerning to me than an app that teenagers are using. So if you're going to make a priorities-based argument, I hear you all day, every day.
It shouldn't be a top priority. Again, overall, I think you said it the best. It shouldn't be a top priority for these people. It should be a priority, but
I'm not even saying it should be a top priority. It just should not be the only priority.
Correct.
Worrying about this and not worrying about anything else, it smacks of virtue signaling.
Correct.
And not actually any type of serious interest in addressing the problem. God, when has Washington, D.C. ever done that? 855-839-1210 is the number. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show, Easter edition. 2 hours in the can, but one left to go. We'll be back in just a few moments to round out the program.
Hey, Doylestown. Tell your smart speaker to play
1210 WPHT.
Happy Easter Sunday, all. Honored to be with you once again for another stirring, soul-affirming, hopefully inspiring edition of the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. I am the aforementioned Matt Rooney. Rounding out tonight's program, 2 hours in the can, 1 full hour, though, left to go. So if you're still digesting your dyed eggs, because now we know that they're normally okay to eat, maybe you're stealing that last piece of chocolate that your kid didn't devour, we've got plenty of entertainment for you. We're going to round out this hour with Twit Talk, so don't go anywhere before about, 9:40, 9:45? We'll be delving into that.
Might even push it to 9:35.
Oh, that much tonight?
Nah, I don't know. 9:35, 9:40.
Okay, all right. Well, that means there's a lot to be had. Because we send Dan on to TikTok because we don't care if the Chinese have his information.
Nah.
There's nothing to steal.
I don't really care.
Yeah. He's a throwaway.
Yeah.
And we'll try to get to some more fun stuff between now and then. Speaking of which, Disney is just trolling us at this point. You read the latest news to come out of the Magic Kingdom, and you wonder if it's something that you're reading in a legitimate news article or whether it's something from Babylon Bee, and it's a goof. This is from the Daily Wire, and I've seen this at a few different places. Disney goes woke with lyrics in new Little Mermaid songs. You are all familiar, of course, with The Little Mermaid. I am a child of the 80s and 90s, so I have... That's right. Words. That's right. Sebastian. Convincing... Prince Eric, I think, right? Dan? Yeah, Prince Eric. Yep. Convincing him to stop messing around and make his move on the Little Mermaid, who, of course, he doesn't know is a mermaid. Why am I giving people the plot background, by the way? It's just my radio host.
So
instinct.
I know the plot of Little Mermaid. Never seen it. I have.
You've never seen the Little Mermaid?
Let me finish my story.
All right, fine.
I never saw it, but then I did the Little Mermaid Junior because I was the sound guy for it in middle school.
Yeah.
So I know the whole plot for that, and then I went back and I watched it.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that's the thing now for grade schools, like Shrek Junior, Frozen Junior.
Well, the actual versions are on Broadway, right? And so they can't do those versions if they're still on Broadway.
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, also, plus we're talking about kids, so having an abbreviated version for...
Yeah, I was a part of the Little Mermaid Junior, Annie Junior, Aladdin Junior, Lion King Junior.
Did you play Annie?
And the Sound, yes. And the Sound of Music. No, I was a stage crew for all of them, the sound guy.
I knew you were.
Yeah, I was a
just the idea of you being
big tech guy here.
Just the idea of you singing tomorrow.
Tomorrow, I love you tomorrow.
Some weeks there just isn't enough aspirin to do this show with Dan. But The Little Mermaid, the 1989 classic, they are changing some of the lyrics.
Wait, hold on. Here you go. Tomorrow.
That's gray and lonely. Stick out my chin and grin and say. Horrible movie, by the way. Horrible play. You know why? Because it makes FDR, that big government-loving, court-packing jerk, it makes him a hero. And, of course, Daddy Warbucks. At the end, he kind of gets a little bit of a redemption arc. But the Republican is the bad guy, naturally. Yeah. I don't like things that villainize rich Republicans. Just ain't right.
Are
Just
you,
ain't fair.
are you a rich Republican?
I'm a Republican. I'd like to be rich. Who doesn't want to be rich?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Sometimes you give me answers just to be contrary.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enough of Annie. Enough of Annie. Then.
All right. Going back.
So
to
back to Little Mermaid.
Yeah, they took out. The original lyrics are, "Yes, you want her. Look at her. You know you do. Possible she wants you to. There was one way to ask her if it don't take a word, not a single word. Go on and kiss the girl."
Yeah. So they're now concerned.
Yes.
That this is teaching little boys, if you assume their gender, right?
Yes.
It's teaching little boys to not seek consent before kissing their future princesses.
Oh, sorry. Poor Unfortunate Souls is also being rewritten.
Yes. What's the problem with that one?
I couldn't tell you. Oh,
I mean, the kiss one, I'm not saying I see a problem, but I get where a demented leftist would have a problem with happiness.
Hold on, we gotta put it on so I can talk about it. Come on now. What are we doing now? What are we doing? Come on. There we go.
Do we get to hear you do Ursula now?
You want the Queen Latifah version?
No, I don't want the Queen Latifah
You want the
version.
Queen Latifah version?
No.
Poor Unfortunate Souls. We have some revisions in Poor Unfortunate Souls regarding lines that might make young girls somehow feel that they shouldn't speak out of turn, even though Ursula is clearly manipulating Ariel to give up her voice. What does that mean? Tell me, Matt.
Walt Disney's doing backflips in his grave, in his cryogenic freezing chamber. That's what it means.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what this is. And I'm going to really tick some people off with saying this, but whatever. You don't like it, find another program. So much of this stems from wokesters that just hate themselves and hate their life. They're ticked nobody ever wanted to kiss them. Because only a complete demented moron would think that these songs from The Little Mermaid would lead to somebody having a self-esteem issue or to want to be rapey. That's crazy. It's not in there. It's something that you in your own miserable life are reading into this stuff because you don't like who you are. And now you've made that the problem of an entire generation of children who should get to enjoy this beautiful production that Disney created back in '89.
There's nothing wrong with any of the old Disney cartoons.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, back in the day, they were fine.
The Sebastian song, I mean, that's classic American canon stuff, man.
Sebastian's just a stoner.
What do you mean he's a stoner?
Why? He's a typical reggae guy, so he's like stoner, you know.
He's got a reggae voice, and so he's a stoner.
Yeah, to kiss the girl. Yeah, it's Jamaican. Anyway. Ariel's a.
Can I hear you do that one more time?
You gotta kiss the girl.
You went like,
you wanna kiss the girl.
That was more like French Chef.
Okay.
I'm not good at doing impressions, but I like to critique. Yeah.
Oh, mind you, let me add on to my.
Yes. To do French, all you have to do is you have to pretend like you have like garbage in your throat.
Let me add on to my theater background.
Okay.
I was just part of Beauty and the Beast as well.
Yes.
But Ariel's a female.
On this program, I'm Beauty and you're the Beast.
Correct.
Yes.
Ariel's a female, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and Eric is a male.
From what I can tell.
So therefore, you would be kissing the girl.
Yes. By the way, I paused there because I wanted to see if there was some kind of trick in your phrasing.
No, there wasn't. There
was no trick there.
And in the new live action one, Ariel is played.
Although technically Ariel is a mermaid.
Yeah, but it's still
so she's a female of that species. She's a trans species.
Well, yes. Why do you think she wants her legs? So she's a girl and become a prince.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
And in the new movie, the live action one, Ariel is played by a female, correct?
I haven't seen much about the live action movie.
Did it even come out?
When Disney comes out with stuff now, I just assume it's going to be garbage.
Just kidding. It doesn't even come out yet.
And I love Disney in the sense that, like most of you, I grew up with Disney media. I've been to Disney World a bunch of times. Disney going in the direction it's gone in, it's not only frustrating and aggravating, it's deeply hurtful because it's something that's very much integral to our American culture.
So two things. One, our good old friend Grieg says producer Dan sings as good as Rich Cioli. So thank you.
Does Rich sing?
I guess so. And two, The Little Mermaid isn't even out yet. It's out May 26th, and Prince Eric is played by a guy, and Ariel is played by a woman.
Well, that's awfully bigoted of Disney, I guess, right?
This is terrible. Melissa McCarthy plays Ursula. That's terrible.
See, you've never seen many movies. I know who Melissa McCarthy is. I was going to say I'm pretty much challenged when it comes to modern Hollywood and knowing who people are. But now that I've Googled her, I recognize her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it seems like it's a traditional cast. So I don't see what the issue is.
Well, isn't the Little Mermaid black?
Yeah.
Isn't that different?
But I don't see an issue with that.
Well, it's not a matter of having an issue of it. I'm just saying, isn't it like a Nordic fairy tale?
Well, the original,
so that's the part of it that's non-traditional.
Right, but the original Little Mermaid.
But I get your point. From a gender perspective, they haven't done anything interesting. I'm sure they'll have at least one gay character, though.
Probably.
There'll be some member of the crew on the ship before it sinks that tries to kiss Prince Eric or something like that. They've got to work it into everything.
Well,
there'll probably be gay mermaids.
The original story is actually really dark.
Well, tell us about it.
Did you know that? I gotta find it.
Hey, by the way, don't, because I wanted to check, and I need to make sure this is clear. I typed this in to Google because I wanted to see if there was any mention of this being in Disney's new movie. It's live action adaptation of Little Mermaid. I typed in gay mermaid. There is a entire gay mermaid merchandise culture on Etsy.
Nice.
I don't even want to get into what some of these mermaids are doing, folks. This is Easter.
So
it's not appropriate, but apparently there's a lot of people into gay mermaids. That's a thing.
So I don't know how Disney came up with how they came up with the Little Mermaid, because the Little Mermaid was originally written by
Hans Christian Andersen.
That's who it is. Yes. I don't know if Disney was like, hey, let's take it from him and make it kid friendly, but the original story has to deal with suicide and murder.
Yeah, well, this stuff is often darker in its original version. You know, Snow White, by the way, like Hans Christian Andersen, where's he from? I said Norway originally. I'm an idiot. He's from Denmark.
Didn't we talk about this one time?
We probably did. It's Sunday night. You got to cut me a break. My brain's not firing on all cylinders. Snow White, that's dark. We've been watching a lot of that lately. Yeah. Man, like the part with the buzzards. You know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
So for those who don't remember, because they haven't seen it in a long time, the witch, who is originally the evil stepmother queen, she pursues Snow White, of course, with her poison apple. And when she's leaving the castle, she steps over a skeleton and like breaks the bones of the skeleton as she passes by. It cackles. So clearly she had somebody starved to death in her cell. A little dark for a Disney movie, right? Gets her to a little boat, goes after Snow White. Two buzzards follow her. And then, of course, when she ends up falling off the cliff after a confrontation with the dwarves, the two buzzards, who are hideously evil looking, they have these looks on their face that are positively maniacal. They circle down, and the implication is clear that they're going to eat the evil queen. That's dark stuff, man. It's a really dark movie.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
And I'm watching this with my kid, who's young enough where those themes aren't really resonating with him.
Yeah.
But man, it didn't resonate with me the first several times I watched it.
Yeah. So
I'm not bothered by that, by the way. But to your point about Disney movies often having darker origins.
Yeah. So answers my question that I asked. The Disney Little Mermaid is loosely based on the fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen. It's loosely based.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not technically, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. And here's a part of thing why it's so dark. In Hans's version, instead of falling for the mermaid, the prince, essentially, the prince marries another woman. So the sea witch, Ursula, cuts the heartbroken girl, Ariel, another ultimatum, which Ariel wasn't her name in the actual story. In the heartbroken girl, another ultimatum, ensuring her survival if she agrees to murder her lover. Yes, the Little Mermaid agrees to murder the prince, but as she approaches the new bride and groom lying in their marital bed, she can't bring herself to kill him and instead chooses to die herself. And then she dissolves entirely into foam before being offered one small reprieve. And as her spirit floats into the sky, she eventually earns a soul by carrying out good deeds for a whole 300 years before ascending into heaven.
Man,
you see how dark that is?
It's also more involved than Dante's Inferno. There's a lot of steps there.
Compared to the Disney version where Ursula offers her, hey, do this for me and I'll give you your voice back.
I prefer the Disney version.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, here's, back to something else you were talking about a minute ago about, not caring that the Little Mermaid is black. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. That's the way you phrase it. I have a problem with it. I just think that this whole woke need to take something that originally had a white actor and make sure we do a version where the lead is black, that in of itself is not only a little silly, but isn't it also in a way degrading to black actors and actresses? Do something new and interesting that has black leads, right? That's cool and interesting and affirming if making sure that all voices and different backgrounds in this country have an opportunity to make their imprint on the American story. It's almost kind of patronizing in a way to say, okay, well, the way we're going to achieve quality is, this Nordic fairy tale, right? Which, by the way, most people in the Nordic countries traditionally white, right?
Yeah.
Is to go ahead and just give you that role. It's the height of virtue signaling. And does it really advance anything? No. And we'll see. If it's a good movie, no one's going to care. Chief of all me, right? But Disney has not done a great job with improving their product in recent years as they've gotten woker. A great example is the Beauty and the Beast live action with Emma Watson. That was hot, steaming garbage.
It wasn't good?
No, partially because she's terrible. Like, she was Hermione, and that's the only role she
Hermione.
What did I say?
Hermione.
Hermione? Am I mispronouncing it?
Yeah, it's Hermione.
Whatever.
It's also patronizing, not patronizing. But I'm not going to be nitpicky. Anyway.
Get over here. Get over here.
What am I, your kid? You need to hit
How
me?
dare you?
Yeah.
By the way, how do we not have the how dare you here?
I do.
Do you? What? Where's it's not on my screen?
How dare they?
That's what I wanted to press. Oh, yeah, it's down here.
How dare they?
There you go.
There we go. I couldn't find
Also, more fun facts. Ariel wasn't, as I said, Ariel wasn't the original name. It was actually just the Little Mermaid or Little Mermaid.
So the Ariel thing was a Disney invention.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
I think
the more
Disney
the more
added
you
a lot.
know.
I think Disney also added Flounder as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to have some kind of lovable animated animal character in all of these Disney movies, which I blame for this fetish with animal rights that a lot of people in Gen X and especially the millennials and Gen Z have, because they all grew up thinking that all animals are essentially Disney creatures. Disney shaped a lot of minds. You can't underestimate it. Now we have to worry about how many they're not just shaping, but warping. 855-839-1210 is the number here on the Matt Rooney Show, where Dan is checking facts, checking my grammar, and we're deep diving Disney movies, I guess. I sang Annie. He sang something from The Little Mermaid.
No,
what is the rest of the hour hold in store
I
for
sang
us?
Annie too.
No, but you were also doing an Ursula impression.
Yeah, I sang from The Little Mermaid, and I sang from what's it called? Tomorrow.
If there was ever a moment to go on break, I think this is it, folks.
Oh, do you want me to do poetry again? Tomorrow.
Where's my music? Where's my music?
Hold on. Let me get it. Hold on.
Like Bill O'Reilly here. We'll do it live.
Here we go.
Just like moons and like suns, with the uncertainty of the tides. Just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise.
Oh, we're still on the Still I Rise. I think we're reading tomorrow. Never mind. Never mind. Keep going. Keep going.
Did you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops weakened by my soulful cry. Easter Sunday. Shh. This is the Matt Rooney Show, folks, on 1210 WPHT. Quick break, back with more in just a few. Don't go anywhere.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Sometimes the only consolation I have living in New Jersey is that we're not yet California. Phil Murphy, our governor, when he ran in 2017, the first time around, promised that he was going to make us the California of the East Coast. And we're almost there, but we're not quite there. And here is another example from tonight's pile of interesting material here on the Matt Rooney Show on 1210 WPHT. This is from the Post Millennial, one of my favorite websites. California bill would create missing persons alert only for Black women and children. So we've heard of the Amber Alert, right? When a child goes missing and you get that little unnerving ding on your phone that says that, hey, you know, there's a child meeting this description that was last seen in this vehicle. Let the authorities know if you see it, okay? And then we have the Silver Alert, right? That's when grandpa or grandma gets out of the nursing home and they go missing, and same sort of deal. Well, California, which always endeavors to take everything to a absurd woke extreme, now apparently they want to have a version of the Amber Alert, but only for Black women and children. In a release on the race-based crime bill, State Senator Stephen Bradford said that the bill would, quote, address the often ignored or lack of attention given to Black children and young Black women that are missing in California, end quote. His reasoning is that Black children, which comprised 38% of those reported missing in the U.S., are often classified as runaways, meaning that their disappearance does not trigger the Amber Alert system. The bill does not change the requirements for determining if a person missing is a runaway, which, if that's truly his concern, you think that's what he would be addressing. But once again, with everything with the left, it's a fruitless endeavor to try to apply logic to any of this. but will, this bill, encourage law enforcement to use the Ebony Alert. That's actually what they're calling it, I guess, the Ebony Alert, Daniel. If that agency determines that it would be an effective tool in the investigation of a missing Black youth or young Black woman between the ages of 12 and 25 years old.
So
So
forget
here we go.
So forget the white women, white men.
Well, they've had enough privileges in life.
Oh, so if they go missing, screw them.
Yeah, absolutely.
F them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
California
Because if you are, we're talking about Easter, obviously, because that's what we're celebrating this weekend, and in the Catholic faith, and in I think most Christian denominations, you have some concept of original sin, right? That humanity has sin, which dates back to the beginning of our species, which Christ came to earth, was born, was crucified, died, and rose from the dead to help us overcome that original sin. Democrats believe in political original sin, that if you are white, you're inherently racist. And therefore, and this is critical race theory in practice here, they say it doesn't exist. Here's another example. They believe one of the only ways to achieve any parity in the world is not to pursue parity, but to actually assume that because of white people's privilege, they are no longer entitled to equal justice under the law, and to preclude them from access to it. And out in California, they're perfecting this. So if you needed another reason to not visit the left coast during your upcoming summer vacation, maybe this is it. Because if your child goes missing and they're the wrong color, I guess the state of California doesn't care. That's what I'm taking away from this. Insanity.
When someone who is missing is incorrectly listed as a runaway, they basically vanish a second time. They vanish from the police detective's workload. They vanish from the headlines in many ways. No one can even know that they are missing. How can we find someone and bring them home safe when no one is really looking for them? That's great. Love that. Love that for California.
But as I already said, Phil Murphy doing the best he can out here on the East Coast to make New Jersey just as nutty. In case you missed it heading into the Easter holiday, maybe you're already on spring break. God love you. Like my good man Daniel here.
I'm not on spring break.
Phil, you're on Easter break. It's the same thing. Just says something different on your academic calendar.
So I get 2 spring breaks. How about that?
You get 2 breaks? Well, yeah, because we all know how hard you're working.
Do you want to know a comment by Grieg?
Sure.
2 comments.
We should have Grieg on, by the way. It's just
he's really active on the YouTube stream.
Yeah, he loves the YouTube
He said
stream.
The Little Mermaid is really kind of sexy. Yes, I mean for a fish, yes. And his second comment, I think it was really marketed towards dads as something kind of arousing to watch with the kiddos. Well, no, because I'm pretty sure Ariel was a teenager.
It's an Ariel. I mean, it's in the title of the movie.
The Little Mermaid.
She's the Little Mermaid.
Well, she's the little sister of hers.
All right. Get your head out of the gutter, Greek.
Come on,
or at least out of the fish tank.
Come on.
As the case.
Well, Snow White was like 15, and like the prince was like 30.
Well, spoiler alert: medieval history. I mean, Little Mermaid is a medieval history, but all these princesses, they used to get married when they were kids.
Yeah, I know.
That was a thing.
Yeah, I know. Did you have little dwarves?
That's the noise. That's the noise that dwarves make. Well, good. That's the one offensive thing we haven't done tonight on the program.
I didn't mean
make fun of people that are vertically challenged, and you've gone there.
I didn't mean vertically.
I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that email from HR. We just keep stepping in it tonight. We're stepping in it deep. Dan just stepped in a giant pile of exploded peep.
That's not. I meant the 7 dwarves, you idiot.
Well, yeah, but what? In any event, Phil Murphy.
Mayor Pete.
Gender affirming care. Took a step forward this week to make New Jersey a destination for quote unquote gender affirming care. Phil Murphy, back in the wake of the decision overturning Roe v. Wade, talked about making New Jersey a destination for abortion tourists. He wanted to make it a safe state, a sanctuary state for people seeking an abortion. Now he wants to do the same with gender affirming care. This latest action by the state of New Jersey will shield practitioners of gender-affirming care, people seeking gender-affirming care, people being sued for the consequences of gender-affirming care from liability, criminal, civil, or otherwise, if they are in the state of New Jersey. So shortly after, the left savaged and mocked Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, for suggesting that he would not extradite Donald Trump to New York if it came to it. Phil Murphy turned around and essentially said, hey, listen, hold my beer. Or it's Phil Murphy, hold my $800 glass of wine. And has decided that he's not going to extradite anybody who is wanted for mutilating a child in another state. So hard charging here in New Jersey to try to make us as wacky or even wackier than California. And the larger transgender debate continues to heat up across the nation. Particularly, there's some pushback among female athletes and former female athletes who don't think it's fair for young girls to have to compete with dudes with beards in extracurricular competition. What a concept. I know. We even had, of all people, a certain former Olympian and California gubernatorial candidate speak out to this effect. Caitlyn Jenner, right? Saying that, hey, I may be trans myself, but this is an absolutely ridiculous concept. And then we have former NCAA swimmer Riley Gaines get ambushed and struck during a recent speech I think she was trying to give on this topic, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was trying to give a speech in which she was advocating for, not trans people being hauled away in wagons, folks, and hooked up to electric chairs or anything like that. That's what they want you to believe conservatives are for. It has nothing to do with that. They're just advancing a very simple argument that, hey, if you make a decision as a boy to say you're a girl, hey, you're still a boy, and it's not fair that you compete against girls.
Yeah, that's the only thing Riley Gaines is trying to do. She's trying to
All she's trying to do.
She's trying to get biological males out of female sports.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's a fair thing, but
Well, because if you believe in science, no matter how many hormones you take, no matter how many surgeries you get, there's still things that are biologically distinct about a man that makes them different from a woman and confers upon them certain advantages. For example, men on average are bigger. They have different bone structure. That makes a difference, whether it be in the pool, whether it be on the track field, basketball, you name the arena or the venue. So do we have some audio of this actually?
of Riley Gaines.
Yeah. Do we have this? This
Yep.
is really harrowing stuff. Keep in mind, as Dan said, all she's trying to do is advance a concept which I would say even 5 years ago was universally uncontroversial, that girls should only have to compete against girls in sports. This is the reaction she gets when she tries to speak. Was it UCLA?
One of those schools, I think.
I gotta look.
I don't.
Let me double check because I don't want to get the school wrong here. No, it was San Francisco State University.
So California.
Yeah, out in California. Right. It's California.
Same state.
Back to our theme of things getting a little screwy out there.
Yeah. Same
Listen to this. Trans women, and she's being harassed going down this hallway.
Yeah.
You might as well be yelling mermaid rights because, by the way, a trans woman is as fictional
as a mermaid.
Well,
they also
neither exist in real life.
They were also holding her hostage too. They were like, "We're not going to give her back until you pay us."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is serious.
Which, I mean, you heard him saying that
serious time.
Basically heard him saying trans women are women, and they she's not trying to denounce trans people at all. She just wants trans women out of biological female sports.
Yeah. And we've said it many times here on this show. Whether or not it's ethical for a doctor to do certain things to an adult, that's a different discussion. generally speaking, if you're an adult, you live your best life, as the saying goes. This is about children, what children are being influenced to do, what they're being coaxed to do, and whether or not they're allowed to have the childhood they deserve, both in the classroom, in the culture, and also on the field of sport and in competition. It's that simple. And yet they want you to believe that they're not interested in grooming folks. Well, if you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you. 855-839-1210. I am Matt Rooney. This is the Matt Rooney Show. Back with Twit Talk in just a second.
In countries around the world, people don't have free speech. They can be harassed, jailed, and punished for expressing their honest opinions. That's why for more than 20 years, the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression,
Live and local all day with Kale and Company, Don Stensland, Dom Giordano, and Rich Cioli on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT and the free Odyssey app.
The Easter edition of the Matt Rooney Show winding down. And I'm glad we did it. What fun we had this evening.
We did have fun.
We did.
We did have fun, yes.
And I think it's actually a good day to dig into some of this stuff. And I know it's counterintuitive to some of you because you understandably say to yourself, it's Easter, we're focusing on something that's religious and therefore hopefully above and beyond politics. We want to leave this stuff alone for a day. And if that's your opinion, again, go watch Jesus of Nazareth, go watch the 10 Commandments, God bless. Here's the way I look at it. Whether you want to believe it or not, Christianity continues to be under attack in this country.
We're under attack. Sorry.
That's what Dan sounds like, by the way, when he's being chased. Which, if I was chasing you, it would just make me laugh and then stop pursuing you. But story for another time. But it's under assault, and it's important to remember why. The reason Christianity this Easter, this upcoming Christmas, 24/7, 365, is under assault by the culture, by the media, by the education establishment, Disney, wherever the heck else we're talking about, is because Christianity was subversive and anti-establishment before it was cool. Christianity and what it stands for and the teachings of Christ themselves still constitute the ultimate threat to centralized, dehumanizing authority everywhere on the planet, 2,000 years and running now. And you can't forget that because it's absolutely true. Because if you believe that God died for our sins and that we are not chained to any fate here on earth, that if we follow a Christ-like existence, we can therefore elevate our existence when we die to a different plane, and that our rights, and this is the key part, don't flow from a government, that we're not here to establish a kingdom of heaven on earth, that the kingdom of heaven is elsewhere. If you truly believe that, the government can't justify half the junk it tries to get away with. That's the problem with the left's hostility towards traditional religion. They believe in nothing beyond our current existence. And since they believe that, then as a consequence, they can justify almost anything, including your subservience to government. So religion and Christianity in particular, it's radical. And it's the ultimate securing variable of human freedom and always has been. The earliest conscientious objectors were the Jewish prophets, right? And you don't have humanism and ultimately the movement to democratize Western civilization that came about in the 18th and 19th centuries without that biblical tradition. I know the left wants you to believe the opposite, but there's just no basis in history for it. So keep that in mind this Easter and every Easter. Whether we're talking about our culture, China and their influence they're trying to exert on the world. We know that what our fellow Christians suffer over there in China is absolutely horrendous. And that's probably a good segue to let Dan now play a ton of clips from TikTok.
Okay, guys, gather round. Gather round.
It's Twit Talk time.
How dare they?
You know, this is everyone's favorite segment, and it's mine. So let's just put that out.
It's when I turn the show over to you. A lot of it's inane. Some of it's horrifying. It can even be a little bit gross.
You think so?
It can be. But I let you do it.
I'm going to give you an Easter gift today. No
Oh,
Barney.
thank you.
No Barney.
Thank you, Jesus.
No Barney today.
That's, you know what? What I probably live to regret saying this, but whatever else comes now, I'm happy that we don't have any Barney.
Just you, okay?
Is there a reason?
I
just being nice, or
I just have a lot. So
okay.
Do you know who John Leguizamo is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the new Super Mario movie just came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is boycotting the Mario movie.
Why is that?
Mind you, he played Luigi in the live action Mario movie, if you remember from the 90s.
I do.
93. And this is the reason on why he is boycotting the Mario movie.
Will you be watching Super Mario Brothers?
No, I will not be watching. They could have included a Latin character, like I was groundbreaking, then they stopped the groundbreaking. They messed up the inclusion. They disincluded. Had some Latin folk. We're 20% of the population.
So no Super Mario Brothers for you?
Hell no.
It's because there's no Latin folk in Mario that he is boycotting it. Which, fun fact, there are no Latin characters in Mario.
Yeah, it's two Italian plumbers, Princess Peach,
Daisy.
Who's Daisy?
There's two princesses.
Oh, right. There's Princess Daisy.
That's
there's a mushroom guy, Toadstool, and then Bowser, who's a dinosaur dragon.
Yep, Bowser Jr. You have Yoshi. Got all them all.
Yeah, dinosaur.
Yep.
No Latin characters there in the canon.
They're just Italian.
Right.
Yeah, so he's boycotting because I guess
is Mario Brothers Disney?
No, Nintendo.
Okay.
So I guess he's boycotting Mario because his character was indeed Latin in the 93 version, which Daisy was in the 93 version. I don't remember her, but it is what it is. There's also a character called Prostitute.
I'm sorry this is happening to him.
There's also a character called Prostitute in the 93 version.
Is it really?
Yeah. Played by Carlene Moore.
Carlene Moore?
Yeah.
There was a prostitute in the original Mario Brothers movie?
Apparently.
Why did my parents let me watch that?
I can't believe that you actually watched it willingly.
Yeah, I mean, I remember it being on.
It's an awful movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, how much stuff do you watch when you're a kid that's garbage?
It's true.
Yeah.
You're a lawyer, right?
I like to think so. According to the state of New Jersey, yeah.
Okay, well,
yeah.
There's another career for you out there if lawyering doesn't work.
It's clearly not radio.
Dollar Tree is not just a job, it's a career. Dollar Tree is not just a job, it's a career.
Well, how can you argue with that?
It's more than a job, it's a career.
It's a way of life.
So if luring doesn't work out for you, there you go.
Dollar Tree is not just a job, it's a career.
Sometimes I hear this stuff and all I want is the context.
Dude, I wish I can give you context, but that was the context. That was the whole that was the whole TikTok right there.
Which is part of the challenge with this whole genre, because like what makes someone post that?
I don't know. I got no idea.
No, I don't know either.
What time do you usually go to bed?
Weekday or week?
Depends. Just give it to me.
And I don't know. It depends. It really is all over.
Let's say Monday through Friday. How about that?
Monday through Friday. I mean, anywhere between like 9:30 and midnight.
Okay, and what about Friday?
I don't sleep a lot.
What about Friday and Saturday?
Friday and Saturday? Earlier usually.
Okay, so your critters aren't coming out.
Wait, excuse me? Excuse me?
So your little critters aren't coming out.
That's an awfully personal question, I think.
Going to bed early cuts into my time of being a wacky, zany, goofy little critter. It's either sleep or being the little critter. And critter always wins.
Is that Theo Von's sister? Could have fooled me.
Critter always wins.
I'm a wacky, nasty little critter.
Critter always wins.
That sounds like Theo Von doing an impression of a woman. It really does. You sure that's not somehow related to Theo Von?
Positive.
All right. Well, I want to double check that later.
Going to bed early cuts into my time of being a wacky, zany, goofy little critter.
Are you a wacky, zany, goofy little critter?
Sometimes. Again, none of your business.
You're also Italian, right?
Partly.
Okay.
I'm a mishmash like most people.
So there is a new product that is coming out specifically for Italians. Would you like to hear?
Is it going to offend John Leguizamo?
Maybe. Would you like to hear what it is?
Well, I just think that you should probably, especially as the show's official Latinx rep, you should probably have something for.
Correct. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't.
All right. Well, okay.
I don't.
Continue with your bigoted framing of this question. Go ahead.
Would you want something Italian specific? It's a yes or no.
Like just generally in life?
Yeah. Just be like, would you want an Italian product?
I mean, if it's food related, yes.
It's not food, but
Are you a middle-aged Italian man that just moved out of his parents' house?
Are you a middle-aged Italian man that just moved out of your parents' house?
No, I've been out for a while.
But are you a middle-aged Italian man?
Not quite 40, so no. I'm not embracing that a minute before I have to.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm like, completely dumping cold water all over your bit here.
I don't care.
I'm an almost middle-aged man who's been out of the house for a while.
Okay, so this product might not be for you, but if it is,
yeah, I know plenty of them. I'm from New Jersey.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's say you did. I bet you're having a tough time getting some sleep, aren't you?
See, there you go. Let's say you were. You have a tough time getting some sleep, right? You don't sleep a lot.
Yeah.
Do you miss the warm embrace of your overbearing mother? How about
No.
How about the smell of her delicious cooking?
Sorry, no, Mom, if you're listening.
Or how about that low rumbling you hear at night coming from her sleep apnea machine? Well, we've got the perfect solution for you. Introducing My Mother, the body pillow for Italian-American men. Say goodbye to tossing and turning and getting that grease all over your pillows. My Mother comes with a grease trap. Boy, this thing stinks. Every My Mother pillow is customized to feel exactly like your mother.
How do you respect a man that doesn't do his own laundry? You know why I do my own laundry? You, Ma.
The My Mother pillow comes with snuggle detection.
Hello, Mrs. Delvecchio.
So if anybody else tries to sneak in and give her a squeeze, she's going to let out an alarm.
Delvecchia Naggio.
What the are you doing?
Oh, the disrespect.
I'm a boy too, Tommy. I got knees.
Get the
Probably thinking to yourself, a product like this must cost around, what, 3 fettuccine? No, we're going to knock it down to 1 fettuccine.
Only 1 fettuccine. Well.
1 fettuccine.
Winner, pasta dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would do well in certain parts of our listening area.
Yeah.
I've known a few of them in my life.
Also,
I generally in my life, I'm a part Italian guy with an Irish last name who generally dates scary Italian women.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
an honor, and that's honorific, by the way.
Okay.
My wife scares the heck out of me. Yeah, she knows
As
I'm
she should.
terrified of her. Yeah.
As she should.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you occasionally drink a nice glass of soda?
I like a cold Coca-Cola.
Do you
from time
think
to time.
it goes with a hamburger?
Yeah,
Okay.
I like a cheeseburger with a nice cold Coke.
Yeah, this guy.
And speaking of being scared of my wife, if she's listening right now, she's like, "Yo, fatty, no, no Coke or burger, salad and water."
This guy thinks
I'm not, dear. I promise.
This guy thinks Pepsi goes with a hamburger.
Pepsi goes better with hamburgers. Is it bussin'? We finna find out.
This is him chewing, by the way.
Yeah, it's sounds like a critter coming out at night. Little critter.
So bussin'. Texas toast burger.
It's bussin'. It's a Texas toast burger. That's bussin'.
It's a what?
A Texas toast burger.
Oh, I got that, but what? It's bussin'.
It's bussin'.
What does that mean?
It means it's like it's good.
Oh, I see. You got to interpret this stuff.
It's good.
As our Gen Z interpreter here on the Matt Rooney Show, I don't know what bussin' means.
It's bussin'. You know, it's bussin'.
Okay.
Like
all
this
right.
Coca-Cola bussin'.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
You like Twinkies?
Not particularly.
Okay. Well, this guy hates you then.
I pity the fool who don't love the delicious sweet sponge cake called the Twinkie. Here I go to prove it. The Redneck King loves his Twinkies. All right.
Right back at you, bud. Now, I've never had one deep fried. Apparently, they do that down in the southern states.
I do.
I'd be willing to try that.
I do Oreos deep fried. They're pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you know.
All right, you fatty.
Yeah.
Hamburgers, Coca-Cola, and deep fried Oreos.
My wife's at the house right now, taking all like the Easter food and like putting it down the garbage disposal, so I can't get it. Nah, she doesn't listen to the show.
We have exclusive audio.
I love when we have exclusive
I
audio.
worked my magic, and I got exclusive audio of Donald Trump being indicted.
Oh wow, this is big.
Yeah, this is huge.
Yeah,
huge.
Don't
ask me how I got it. I can't give them my sources, but it's exclusive audio.
Producer Dan, amazing sources.
Only audio that you're going to hear on 1210 WPHT. YouTube.com/@12WPHT.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yes.
Well, we're here at the courthouse, right? We call it courthouse, where I'm going to be turning myself in so unfairly. I'm also going on. So. Right? Well, we're here with the fake news, right? They're trying to kick me out so unfairly, but we're going to come back there. You look at that sign across the street. You got Black African American for Trump. And they know so many jobs. A lot of the people in this courthouse. This guy right here, we got him that job. We got this guy his job, and this guy too.
I'm anti-fi. I don't know if you gave me my job.
That is a wonderful African American man, and we did so good. You look at the polls, and it's unbelievable. Unbelievable people. Right? Look at with law and order. We call it law and order. Everybody in the pen. We gotta go. We're getting fingerprinted. We call it fingerprinted.
They wanted a circus. That's exactly what they got.
Also, real quick, just got a tweet from Sid Weiss.
Yeah, we've been ignoring the Twitter tonight. We've been so YouTube focused.
And you can respond to this one. Okay. At Producer Des. Hey, buddy. F Matt Rooney. That's all it says.
Concerning what particularly, or just generally?
Just says it.
That's all right. Well, all right.
Yeah.
Can't make everybody happy. Shouldn't try.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, Sid.
So that was our.
Could have done something else on Easter.
So that was our exclusive audio of Donald Trump.
I guess that didn't impress Sid.
I guess not. Maybe this one will, because it's more exclusive audio of Donald Trump.
Oh.
On a children's playground, which used to be filled with little kids playing and running around having a great time. But under the failed leadership of Sleepy Joe Biden, now it's just filled with fentanyl. And I've got a little kid. Come here, kid. Tell the people Tell the people how the playground is nowadays under Sleepy Joe Bud.
The playground is not much fun anymore. We used to have so much fun. Now I have people trying to sell me crack and crank.
Unbelievable. It's such a disgrace. Thank you, kid. Thank you. There you go. Go buy yourself some McDonald's. Folks, it's such a disgrace, but we're going to bring our playgrounds back, and we're going to bring them back so strongly. And I mean, look over here. You've got the giraffe, right? Even the giraffe. There we go. Nobody jumps like I jump. We've got the giraffe. We found him strung out in an alleyway. He had OD'd, and we got him into a rehab. And look at him now. I got him a job as a taxi driver. And he's winning bigly now. He's winning so strongly. He's doing a tremendous job. That I can tell you, right?
You know, he'd probably do better with Make Playgrounds Great Again than talking about the 2020 election. Right?
Probably.
I actually thought about this weekend. I took my kid to a playground, and the amount of graffiti on the playground, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just part of the culture breaking down and law and order going to seed. I mean, it's, you know, what can I say that we haven't said 50,000 times? Do we have time for any more?
Oh yeah, we got one more.
All right.
Make it
a good one.
I saved the best for last. Theo Von.
Oh, thank you.
Theo Von here is talking about a good deal. I guess his show, he's got like a show now and he has callers, and a caller called in and this is what transpired.
Burger King, they got that deal, 10 nuggets for $1.
Ooh. Now, I've heard of a deal before. A deal is something where you're getting something good. This sounds like a risk.
Found out why. Deal, I pooped my pants, man. I pooped my pants real bad. So I don't know if I can ever trust Burger King again. I mean, they're a fine establishment. I don't want to throw any shade at it.
You don't want to throw any shade, dude. Those guys just took $1 from you and then you shit yourself for them. Is that business? What kind of business you like to get involved in, huh? Here's an idea, dude. Why don't you give me $40 and then go cut your fucking arm off? Now, man, it sounds like you got taken advantage of by the king.
And that's what I got for you.
Taken advantage of by the king.
And that's what I got for you.
Oh, perfect. We got to get him together with that other lady.
Little critters.
Well, all little critters out there in 1210 WPHT land. I am Matt Rooney. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to producer Dan. Happy Easter to everyone out there across the fruited plain. And until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and keep fighting for this greatest nation in God's creation. It's worth it.